Hello, everybody, for possibly the last time. It is myself, Joe, and welcome to Paragade All Anime. I am, of course, joined by Bran.
Hello, hello. We are here. We finally made it.
We made it to the end of Death Note. We've done it. We've lifted this curse. We don't need it anymore. We after this, we never have to talk about Death Note ever again.
Well, I mean, I definitely will, but it will only be in lights after this
It,
podcast.
it, it won't be like it won't. We are no longer obligated to do that. We no.
Yes,
We
it's no longer like on the to-do list. It's just like when I feel like it, I will come back inevitably. I will be back at Death Note, but
Yeah. So, I guess this is a good time to say, November-ish is when you'll be back on the show, and we'll be talking more about Mob Psycho instead of Death Note this time.
thank God.
Yeah.
I
Like, we'll
feel
probably,
like it's gonna be a big old breath of fresh air.
I think we'll take it at a much lighter pace too,
Yeah.
rather than like 3 episodes because, Mob Psycho is only like 12 episodes, so we gotta like bring that out for like all it's worth.
Oh, it's only 12 episodes?
I think it's like 12 episodes for season one, and then season two
Oh,
is
that's
another.
not bad.
I don't remember. I know I've written it down somewhere. I know we made like a plan ish, and then I was like, after Death Note, I kind of just want to take a break from that.
No more plans after Death Note.
No more
All
plans.
according to Kick.
I hate it. I hate it. But yeah. So Bran will be back in November after this. Otherwise, it'll be filled with me and M just talking about not Code Geass. We actually fell off that train. Yeah.
What? No more Code Geass?
No more Code Geass. The reason why is because I started playing Fire Emblem.
Oh, are you guys going to talk about Fire Emblem instead?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of
Hey,
fact,
Paragade goes back to talking about games.
I know it's weird how it just kind of goes back around like that. So yeah, actually, this episode's also not going to have like our segment with me and M because this is the finale. It's just going to be me and
It's the
Brand.
finale.
Yeah, me and Brand are just going to talk about Death Note. We're going to talk about Death Note related properties like a musical.
Oh, yes.
It's gonna
Oh,
be great.
yes. I'm
Uh,
so excited.
But yeah, after this, it'll be filled with me and M talking about video games because it turns out we are much more passionate about video games and playing those together than we are about watching anime. Because
I mean,
it, it
that's fair.
it's also because like anime, like we are those types of people where it's like when we watch anime together, not only are we just like ragging on it, we are too critical about it, and it becomes exhausting. So it's just kind of like
Yeah, like so many times about older shows that you go back to, you're like, oh my god, I love this show. And then you go back and you're just like a grown ass adult and you're like, ah, like, I love this show, but Jesus Christ, like, there's just so much that you can't not say about.
yeah.
And like, yes, I feel you on that. With games, it's a lot easier because, I mean, the newest Fire Emblem, when did that come out? That was very recent,
Yeah,
right?
that was like the last couple weeks of August.
Nice.
I think I've been playing through it. I think I'm at the halfway point. I'm about to get to the time skip. Uh, Claude is my child and also my husband. I love him. He's the best.
Did you say Claude?
Claude, yes, Claude.
Just choked up my drink.
You know,
I'm sorry, that was the most Joe sentence. Oh, Claude is my son? Like,
Claude is my son and also my husband because like in like the school phase he looks like a fucking twink, and then after that in the 5 year time skip he looks like a twunk, and I'm just like,
oh my
oh
god.
daddy, give it to me. uh I wish
Beefed up.
I wish he was gay. He's not. He's
Aw.
not one of the gay options in this game. There's a lot to talk about with that. We'll get into that
I was
in
about to
the
say, save that for the podcast later.
but the other good little tidbit I want to give you, Brand, that you'll really like about this game.
Yeah.
I'm playing it with the Japanese voices because I
You were smart.
no the English dub, the English dub is good. I'm waiting until they patch out Christopher Niosi, who's like an abusive like voice actor. Because Nintendo got word of that and they're like, never mind, that's a PR nightmare. We don't want him in our game.
Yikes.
and
Yeah,
he
well,
vo-
good on them.
Yeah, and he voices the main character. So
Oh,
yeah,
no.
so it's kind of like, we gotta patch him out. We gotta get him out of here.
That is such an unfortunate thing to like, and it's not that I'm saying that like, oh, I wish you guys wouldn't talk about like voice actors being garbage people. Like that's definitely good that it's getting out there, but
Yeah,
it does make it so awkward and terrible going back to shows that you love, and you're just like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm glad that they're catching it now so that like they don't have that kind of problem with their fan base moving forward. They're like, hey, people can keep enjoying this because we didn't hire an asshole.
Yeah, like this time, we did hire an asshole once, but we saw that he was an asshole, so we got rid of him. But the actual other voice acting tip, because I'm playing it in Japanese, Claude's voice sounded familiar. It
Who
turns
is
out
it?
Yuri from Yuri on Ice, as in
Yes,
pork
that's
cutlet,
amazing.
as in pork cutlet boy, as in
Oh,
it's great, and that's why I find it even more offensive that he's not a gay option. It's like, give him to me, give him to me.
this is an insult.
This is an insult to gays everywhere. This is homophobia at its finest.
Literally.
I feel bullied. The other voice acting note I will just put there is that Dimitri, the blonde-haired boy, which is your brand,
Oh, he's so cute.
he is voiced by Genos from One Punch Man.
One Punch.
Yes!
Nice. I fucking love Genos. He is also my blonde boy.
Oh god. All right.
I need to revisit One Punch Man. Is season 2 out?
It is.
Is it good?
It's good. It's not as
I
good
wanted
as.
to see like white hair Vegeta do his thing, but like I don't know what's going on with him. I just saw this little girl like step up and she was like,
Yeah.
"No fighting," and I was like, adorable. So
It's actually
and Jones.
it's actually fairly good. It's very like faithful to the manga.
Good.
Um,
Okay.
the only problem is that like it's not made by the same team. You could tell
Ah.
like the animation is good in a lot of places, but then
Yeah.
other places like like
No.
they were kind of dealing with like a pretty rough delivery cycle. So it wasn't like the previous studio. I think it was like Studio Madhouse.
Oh, Madhouse, all hail.
Yeah, funnily enough, the studio that did Death Note, like
And Hunter x Hunter.
and Hunter x Hunter,
All
so,
the best anime.
yes. So they were like when they were working on the first season of One Punch Man, it was a passion project. They were just like, no, we fucking love this thing. It just turned out that like it wasn't in the cards that they would be able to return to the next season. So it's not like that they didn't want to. It's just like they just didn't have the time. They were already
I
booked.
gotcha. They already don't do stuff.
But otherwise, season 2 is okay. I kind of fell off it. I'll probably go back and watch it now that it's like all like the episodes are posted, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're also kind of playing this tough tightrope game where it's like they're catching up to like the actual like the manga that's being drawn by like the one artist of iShield 21, and it's like literally one chapter away from being caught up. So
Oh man.
so it's kind of like this dance of like, well, do we delay it or do we make a Full Metal Alchemist? What do we
Yeah.
do? I don't know.
That's a good point.
So yeah, I recommend like if you have the time, especially now that like most of the episodes are out, definitely binge it.
Yeah.
But all right, enough other anime talk. Let's talk about
Time
what we're
to
drinking. Let's talk about what we're drinking, and then we're gonna get into this. We're gonna finally kill this beast that is known as Death Note.
It's so close. I'm
Alright.
so excited.
What are you drinking, Bran?
I am not drinking water. I'm
Oh.
not drinking a sugar-free, caffeine-free root beer.
Oh,
It's the finale of Death Note,
yes.
and I haven't eaten all day. And I was like, you know what's a great idea to just kind of quickly and carefully break my soberdom of this year and
Yeah.
celebrate that we're finally done with Death Note. The first time I've been excited to end Death Note, and I made myself a mixed drink with the very limited supplies I have at my parents' house, which means that it's made of rum, gin, strawberry kiwi sparkling iced water, lemon juice, and sweet and sour mix. And I'm talking like the last very bottom little bit of sweet and sour mix
Oh my
that we
God.
had. So I'm having my first mixed drink in like since your wedding. So, and it's just as disappointing as you think it would be.
Yes.
After like the like god tier bacon whiskey I had or whatever it was, and the jalapeno drink. Oh, those were so good.
Oh my God.
So yeah, what are
But
you drinking, Joe?
I,
Get my mind off this
I,
monstrosity.
I can't remember if this was from episode 1, but I felt like it's time to do a callback. I made a Canadian cocktail. It's a good
Oh hell yeah!
cocktail. It's got bourbon. It's got it's got Cointreau. It's got simple syrup. It's just damn tasty. I like it.
Mm,
So
good old bourbon,
good old bourbon. That's
Uncle Bourbon.
Uncle Bourbon. It's good. Oh my god. So with that being said, I think we've done enough housekeeping.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and probably do a little bit more after we've killed this.
No, after we kill this, I am jumping straight into the musical because
Well,
I am stoked.
I meant after the musical, like, you know, just like, because
Okay.
obviously that's priority number 1, but
It's so good.
it's so good. Joe's stamp of approval. I think the musical is the definitive version of Death Note. You should watch it or listen to it, whatever.
Like, people are like, "Oh, have you seen that Death Note on Netflix?" And Joe's like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, are you like a fan of the original show?" And they're like, "No."
Oh.
Have you seen the musical? They're like, "Excuse me." It's so good.
Oh god. All right.
Also, I would just like really quickly to
Yes.
point out the you know what? Never mind. I'm gonna save that for when we're talking about the musical.
Yes,
Never mind.
yes.
Okay,
All right.
let's start episode 34.
Vigilance. So,
Vigilance.
okay. So basically, Giovanni is witnessing Mikami just go ahead and just kill someone right in front of him, or so he
Yeah.
thinks. A key note here is that Mikami takes out his phone and takes out a quick picture, and he's like, "Here you go," and then he writes the name of the death note, and blah blah blah. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile, Aizawa and Light are getting ready for Light's rendezvous with Takada, and he's like, "Well, I don't trust him at all. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put like a little marking on the bottom of this notepad because I'm pretty sure that they are sharing notes together."
Oh my god! He's. It bothered. I'm not gonna go on the spiel that I went.
No, do it. I went for like
It's
5
so-
episodes about the chip bag.
God, I'm like I can excuse the chip bag because it was solely Light Yagami, and I'm just like we hate him. He's dramatic. He would like find a lighter and reseal a goddamn chip bag. Like he would go to those links because he's just like, yeah, you like that L? Like just looking at the camera but not looking at the camera. Like he would do that, and it's extra and it's hilarious and it makes Death Note Death Note.
Yes, yes.
This is just like sheer lack of logic. The SPK is being a bunch of babies, and they're like, whatever Light wants, and I'm like, to this day, I'm still like, at least Aizawa had some goddamn spine, backbone,
Yeah.
to just go in there and be like, I think that, you know, all things considered, it's probably obvious that Light and Takada are maybe communicating in a way that we can't observe. Let me just imprint little, and he does like a little, but he just press down with his pen.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was really smart of Aizawa too, because he knows Light has such a very like acute attention to detail.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he knows like the extent to it, but if you think about Light, I mean, like he noticed mechanical pencil lead snapping in his door. Like he's very observant, and like it goes to extreme lengths but he's getting comfortable.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was really cool and smart of Aizawa to like note that like Light does think that the SPK is a bunch of idiots, which like considering the situation they kind of are to a degree, but he does that. He doesn't make a mark, he doesn't fold a page, he specifically just makes a small indent, and that could be mistaken for anything. That couldn't be like, you know, and I thank God for Aizawa.
Thank God for Aizawa.
If it hadn't been for him following up on that, like I would have like just transported into this show and like sniped Matsuda right in the back of the head.
No, you know what? It's like you got closure. You got closure in that, like, eventually.
You know
that whole thing was resolved.
That's fair.
I will
and the
never.
Chip bag?
No, that will be gone to the annals of history as to whether or not, like, how the hell did he get the I don't know.
Who knows? You know, I thought maybe like one I heard a while back that someone was like, well, in Japan they have resealable chip bags.
No, they don't.
And I'm like, I feel like that's not true. Like I feel like you just trying to tell me that somehow Light Yagami won a $400 camera and a bag of Doritos. And you're wrong. Anyways, we'll not get started on that. But yes, so we have Aizawa catching on and being smart.
Yes, Aizawa being the one smart dude. And then after that, basically Light is having his conversation with Takada, and it's your typical, this is a bunch of old dudes writing women thing, where it's like, I heard this conversation from Misa that, like, she's gonna go ahead and propose to you. And it's like, whatever do you mean? And she's basically sending him a note like, what's Misa to you? And he's like, Misa's just a dumb bitch that happened to find the death note. Like, I've been stuck with her ever since. I've been trying to get rid of her, but if I do...
And it's probably the only honest thing Light has said in this entire show.
The only honest thing.
Like, I love Misa so much because she really just did, like, she went out and got her man. Like, she was just like, man, I want him. I'm gonna blackmail him until he dates me. And I'm like, okay, Misa, I see you.
I see you, Misa. You know what? You get it. You get it. And after that, Light's thinking to himself, like, why are women like this? And I'm like, I don't know, like, this anime is clearly written by a person who's never talked to a woman a day in his life, so...
I mean... I'm watching this, and he's like, why are women like this? And, like, my note was like what? Human? Like, they just... She's like, were you out here telling me I'm gonna be the goddess of the new world, and your dumb, drunk fiancé of a bitch is like, we're gonna get married on your TV show. I'd be like, sir? Can you explain? Like... And Light's like, why can't you all just roll over and let me use you to get to the very top of this world? And they're like, I mean, you can, but we're going to be pissy about it. I'm like, kudos to you for putting up a fight at least and being like, I'm just going to make this a little bit more difficult. I have some self-respect. And even with Misa, like, everyone thinks she's like, you can do whatever you want with me, Light. But she's like...
date other women.
Yeah, like, she had demands, and, I mean, at least they didn't make her 100,000% an airhead, but...
It was like, especially when it was, she had her memories of the Death Note, it was like, that made her a fucking liability. It's like, whenever she said, you can't date other women, it was like, Light was like, oh fuck, she might kill me. She might actually kill me.
That's such a good point, though. It's flat out like, I mean, did he erase her memories to, like, protect himself from being incarcerated and possibly, like, executed? Yes, but, like, did he also do it out of sheer fear that he knew Misa would just fucking write his name down?
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know. Did she say that back in I think she was like, if I see you dating another girl, I'll kill her.
That too, yeah.
Oh, that's right. Like, she would have had Takada dead by now.
Oh, absolutely. So, and then meanwhile, Matsuo is just listening and like, ooh, Light's in trouble. Ooh.
Yeah, he's in the doghouse. And I'm like, yes, Matsuda, you get it.
You get it, Matsuda. Like, Matsu over here just watching Real Housewives of America, and he's just like, yeah, no.
He's just keeping up with the Kardashians, That's just like, that's his job now. He's got to do it, and he's got to feel good about it, and it's just, I love it.
I love it. And then Aizawa just kind of yells at him like, this is a fucking murder investigation. Get your head out your ass.
He's like, oh yeah. Like, his little face.
Oh my god. So, God, now Takada is also just kind of egging on the literal serial murderer because, of course, why not? That seems like a smart idea.
Yeah, totally.
So it just kind of keeps going around in circles, like, what's Misa to you, blah blah blah. Oh, I guess Kira is like not great. I'll go ahead and turn against him, I guess.
Yeah, no, and like that's the whole when they're having that conversation and they're not watching them via video camera, they're only listening to their audio. Light passes Takada a note, and he's just like, "This is what's happening," and he's like, "I want you to say this now," and she's like, "Kira should be arrested." And like the way she says it, I'm like, are you sure? Because you can tell she's just reading a fucking script. And Light's just like, what? You think Kira should be arrested? And she's just like, I do think that. And they're just looking at each other. I'm like, I hate this so much. And the freaking
Oh
Matsuda is just
my
like, wow, what a twist. And I was like, I swear to God,
god. I swear to
the only
God.
person with a brain and eyebrows in this room.
Apparently, just apparently. Uh, so basically, like, Matsuda is like, that's our guy. Like, he gets the job done. I'm like, oh, he sure does get the job done. Uh, Uh, Meanwhile, like the SPK is still investigating Mikami, and
Mikami.
it's like, yeah, basically it's very obvious that like Mikami is kind of playing them. He's like, yeah, like I'm talking to myself and I'm saying there's no Shinigami here.
Yeah, that's honestly like it's so stupid. Like when they're just like slow down the visual, and they're like, "Is that you, Shinigami?" And it's like every frame rate, like it's just every frame of animation of his mouth just being like, "Boop, boop, 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 boop," and I'm like, I hate this so much.
Oh my god.
I'm like, they would have someone there like, oh, I know, I'm gonna read his lips. I'm like, I hate this so much. They like, I know they gotta wrap the show up, but like, God, we all thought it was bad with L, like making the leaps that he had to make to just be like, because I know, and we're like, you are L, I trust you, I believe you, and now I'm just like, really, y'all just gonna read his lips out loud and be like, this is evidence.
This is evidence. We
I
got
hate
this. So yeah, Aizawa goes ahead and investigates the notepads. Finds out that like, oh, they've been turned around. Who'd have thought? Who would have possibly thought it? It's almost as if
my intents
might be Kira.
That's a thought that's been here since episode 2.
So after that, he basically goes to the SPK with Nier, and he's like, hey, so I found this out, and Nier's like, that's great. You're doing great, sweetie. Why the fuck are you doing this? We got this under control. Like,
yeah.
You can just chill out now. And I'm just like, don't be mean to Aizawa. He's doing his best.
He's doing great. Yeah, and it was so funny because like Nier's just like, if you ever want to call me or do this, and then Aizawa actually reaches out and he's like, yeah, in all honesty, I just said that to piss Light off. I don't actually need your help. And Aizawa's like, okay, I guess.
Cool. It's great. It's
cool.
not like I wanted to do my job.
Yeah. It's not like the only smart person with anything to lose here, besides my life.
My family and everything.
Exactly.
So the Pop Music Fest pops off, and basically it's great because it opens up with classical music at a pop music fest because I guess
Japan. They're classy bitches. They know what's up.
They are okay. I want to go ahead and just put it on record here that they just go ahead and blast out Kingdom Hearts music in like the fucking convenience stores while I was there.
Just like the whole crowd is just like Fortnite dancing.
It would be so great because that was just it. When I was fucking in Japan, it was right after Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. Wano was playing in every fucking convenience store and every store in like the fucking country. Face your fears. I'm gonna face my fears. I was so stoked. Don't get me wrong. That shit had me bopping. I was like, yes, I'm so glad that people have taste in music here. Hell yes. Oh my god.
Oh man, that's funny.
But yeah, so they go ahead and they start that, and basically we find out that like Mogi and Misa are suddenly detained, and they're like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, I love that because like does Nier call him?
No,
or does Light call Nier? I don't know. They get in on a phone call, and Light's like, Misa's missing. She's been kidnapped. I'm so worried.
That's right. And Nier calls him. Yeah.
Yeah, and Nier's just like, yeah, that was me. I have your girlfriend. He's like, Nier, babe, like, maybe don't kidnap my fiance. And he's like, I mean, the one you care so much about that you're dating someone else. And then Matsuda's like, ooh, in the background.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, I love how blatant, like, this is another, like, really great step in Nier's development, just being like, yeah, that was me. I'm in Japan now.
Yeah.
When are we gonna meet? Because I have your girlfriend, and not that I'm threatening to hurt her or anything, but like,
Oh, that's great.
she was suspected of being the second Kira. Maybe like answer my phone calls when I call you next time. And it's like, ugh, like, why are humans like this?
Why are they all like this? Why can't anybody just do what I want them to do?
Why can't I control every living being on the planet?
So, basically, Moki actually just cooperates because he was told by Aizawa ahead of time, like,
Yeah.
hey, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
So don't fucking resist, otherwise they will probably shoot you. And he's
Yeah.
like, okay.
You got it, boss. Who is the boss now? It's Aizawa, because he's the only smart bitch left on this crew. I love that Mogi also does it because, and I like how Misa kind of gives him a look too. Like,
Yeah.
it just makes me really soft how like close Mogi and Misa
Yeah.
have gotten. Like, I know Mogi's just kind of like, this is the role I have, and like this is what I'm doing, but like, it's just really sweet because she's in the car and she's like, "You better let me go," blah, blah, blah. And Mogi's just like, I don't know what they say to him. They say something to him, and he's just kind of like, "Yeah." And Misa kind of like looks at him, and she's like, "Oh, I get it. This is serious."
Yeah.
She's so funny.
And Mogi is just kind of like, yeah, no, everything's pointing to light, so I'm gonna cooperate because
Yeah.
this makes sense. So after that whole thing happens, because basically Nier gives him a call, he's like, yeah, you can check in on like your girlfriend and Mogi.
The pause.
And you can check on Mogi here, and they check up on him, and he's like, did you all go willingly? And Mogi's like, yeah, dude, I kind of went willingly. And he's like, understood. I can't kill you right now, otherwise that'd make it suspicious. So
Yeah.
So you go ahead and do you, sweetie. Meanwhile,
Sweetie.
Giovanni is just going to the gym where Mikami is going, and he's like, "All right, swole BTS member, it's time to go ahead and invade your locker here." And he does, and it's the shakiest shaky cam, and she's like, getting ready to touch the notebook. He's like, I'm gonna touch it. I have to touch it. I gotta touch the butt. And
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna slap this book.
and he touches the notebook, and he looks around, all
Those
like
Nargacuga eyes, like, like just the super sharpening the blade, like motion with the eyes.
it's great. And nothing
Shinigami.
happens. Can't see shit.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes ahead, gets into his car, and he utters my favorite line from this fucking anime, which is, "Sir, I have succeeded in touching the notebook."
Yeah.
Like,
It just takes me reeling back to my personal favorite episode, which is the one where Light gets his memories back.
yeah.
Which is where and poor shows like he just touches the, or no, is it Mogi? Somebody after Shinichio like touches the notebook and they're
Mogi.
like, "Sir, you're losing it," and then he's like, "Oh!" And he like jumps back. Oh my god, it's like my favorite sound in this entire thing. It's so funny.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
that energy he has when he's like, "I've touched the notebook and I don't see nightmares." And it's like, good for you, Giovanni.
Good for you. So, that's episode 34. Episode 35, Malice. So basically, Nier is like, hey, what was that thing that they said? It was like 23 days or something like that.
Oh yeah, okay. What changes? Because something changes that prompts Nier to call him. Is it that Takada? Are we gonna get to that? Hold on.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to episode 35.
Okay. Oh, so this is where he initiates the meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, baby! Sorry, I heard your cat.
I
Oh my
know.
god, he's so cute.
So cute.
He's so cute. So he sets up the meeting. So this is where they officially set it up,
Yeah.
and you see Light smirk. He looks like, "I knew that's exactly something, like, I knew that's the day that you pick," and he's just like, "Yeah, that day works fine." So they agree for, like, 20, isn't it like the day after Christmas or something? Like, it's very,
No. It's like,
No?
after New Year's. So it's like,
oh,
yeah, it's like January 28th. Because that's also the episode, 36, 128. Where
Ah,
so it's that the Death Note can only control people for like 23 days.
that's right. Yeah, and
So
that's why Nier's like, I want to make sure that if we meet everyone that that you're already controlling,
yeah.
that they have that. But in like, I don't know, like in my defense, he could just be like, okay, start controlling them now. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I also think it's because like the Death. You know what?
no,
Never
that's
mind.
right.
I'm not
You
going to
know
talk
what?
about
We'll
these
we'll
Death
get
Note.
to the twist.
Yeah.
I was about to say, oh, I just realized like why he's like 23 days, and Light's like, I know exactly why you picked 23 days. You're right.
You're
Let's
right.
continue with the plot.
So
This
anyway,
convoluted plot.
episode 35, Malice. It starts off with basically a clip show where it's like everybody's just acting as
Yeah.
normal. They're kind of playing out through the rest of the month. Misa and Mogi are just chilling. Like
They're just chilling. They're having a great time.
they're playing board games. They're going
Yeah.
ahead and having fun. Like, I hope after the end of Death Note, Misa just goes ahead and moves in with Mogi. Mogi becomes like her new like adoptive like stepdad or something like that.
Same. He's such a good guy, and like they both are just. They just have such a sweet dynamic. They're the sitcom that we deserve. Like
Oh
I
god.
hope she's okay. I love Misa. And I think also this part was really cute because first that Joe is near. He's
Yeah.
just sitting here and like in this clip show, it's just
Playing
like
with Ultraman.
yeah, there's just this like really like somber like it's the same music that starts up every time like something really just sad is about to happen or something sad has happened like when can't remember Light Sister's name and I feel
Light
terrible.
Sister, that's it, because
Light
she
Sister.
appeared for a total of like 2 episodes.
She's in a wheelchair now and like
Yeah.
that music though when it's like da 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 boom and the and it's just like the background like chord hitting on the synthesizer
Yep.
and then you just have Nier like playing with his little like there he goes little Ultraman he's just like yeah and I'm like I'm about to catch a serial killer and I'm like this is Joe energy I'm glad this is here validated moving on with the clip show.
There we go. That's the reason why I made the Lancer campaign, was so I could justify people just like playing with my
Yeah.
Gundams. That's it. Oh god. So anyway, let's see. So apparently, Mikami knows that, like, hey, the notebook's been tampered with. And we're getting back to, like, I know what he knows, and he knows what I knows, and he knows what he knows,
Yeah.
and everything like that, because now they're like, oh, we're gonna meet at Daikoku Wharf. Basically, it's the most secluded fucking place. It's the perfect place for Kira to just commit a mass murder.
Oh yeah, and like I love this because Nier knows that. He's like, oh, like you couldn't resist meeting me in a really secluded location because you think that I have the advantage, which is exactly what I want you to think. So come to this warehouse where you can throw all our bodies in the river afterwards and then just wipe your pretty boy hands and walk off and rule the world. And Light's like, you got it. He just signs his fucking name.
He's like,
I will pencil you in. It just turns towards this big calendar, like,
yep,
rule the world. Like,
there we go. It's like 129, rule the world.
God, literally. I hate him. We get, oh, by the way, like, we're about to jump into, like, we're on we're on episode 35. Episode 36, we start getting the smuggest
Yes.
fucking looks that Light has ever served. And I'm here for them. He looks wonderful. Like it's infuriating, but like he's just so pretty. Like he literally looks like Knife Meme Cat. He's just
so
like
great. It's so great because you know what's coming.
You know it's coming. You can enjoy it because you're like, oh baby, like this is the last time you will ever feel happy, and I'm soaking it in because you look so good, and you're about to look so pathetic. Anyways, okay, so see. Episode 35, what happens after they set up this meeting?
After they set up this meeting, Mello just fucks everything up.
He really does. My boy comes out of hiding. He's got his bounce back. He's like, this is my boy. We've just been sitting around.
Playing Game Boy.
Smoking, eating freaking chicken nuggies, playing Mario Kart. And Ryuk's like, nice.
And he just comes in, he just kidnaps fucking Takana, and his boyfriend is like being chased by the cops. He gets gunned
Yep.
down in the most
Bruh,
anticlimactic way.
it's terrible. Okay, like, can we
Oh,
talk about how, like, American that was? I don't
yeah,
know, like, every time I watch that scene, it makes me really, like, it is anticlimactic, but
yeah,
it's also, like, not anticlimactic in, what's the word? Like, shocking. It's
yeah,
just, like, because you're like, I'm in Japan, like, this is fine, like, this is what's happening, but it's like, this is, like, the future. This is, like, Kira's personal guard for Takada. Like,
yeah, yeah,
that's who you've got standing here because you threaten the safety of someone that worships and serves Kira.
yeah,
And he's like, and you can tell Matt's done this kind of thing before. Like, he gets out in his Where's Waldo fucking shirt, and he's
yeah.
like, he's got such a cool design. I love him.
He's actually really dope. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
I love Matt. There's a lot of headcanons that I've read about him, and he seems really cool. He's kind of like, from what I understand, most of the fandom like sees him as is like an heir of L that just is like, I don't give a shit about L's opinion. I'm gonna go smoke, and he just like
Yeah.
leaves. He just doesn't care. But
Oh, like that.
he gets out of this car. They're like this big car chase because they all think he's got Takada, and he's like, okay, all right, you got me, because they finally pin him down in this intersection. He gets out of the car and he's smoking a cigarette. He's got his little goggles on, and he's like, you guys probably have a lot of questions, so I'm more than happy to go quietly. And before he can finish his sentence, they all, in this like dead quiet gun charade, just bam, 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 and they just blow him full of freaking holes. And he just sits there, and his cigarette falls out of his mouth and goes out in the blood on his jacket. And
Oh.
we're like, this is Japan. Like, this is on the streets
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Japan. This isn't America. Like, we're not like, oh, it's another fucking Tuesday. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like, it's not common sense to us. Not common sense. It's just not common occurrence for them. Like, that would have
Yeah.
been horrifying to see on the streets of Japan. So it really puts in perspective the fact that, like, this is not only like an era of fear, in that Japan is like, the whole world is under Kira's rule right now. So Japan isn't like, they're probably not flat out like flabbergasted that someone was gunned down. What's probably the most terrifying thing about it is because this is directly related to Kira, and in the streets of Japan, like, a man is gunned down for actively threatening someone that serves him.
Yeah.
It's, oh god, it's just a really like sad scene. And later on, when you see Mello, he's got Takada, and he drove her into a warehouse truck. What do you call
Yeah.
those things? Like a semi truck or whatever. Drove her in on the back of the motorcycle, gets in the front of the truck, and he's driving her to an undisclosed location. And he's watching the news, and like, even he expresses, and he's like, oh my god, like, Matt, like, he sees him on the
I
news.
didn't think you'd die.
Yeah, like, I didn't anticipate. He genuinely did not think that they would kill him. He thought that they would take him alive. They would want questions.
Yeah.
And that's just like, they don't care. Like, they just will kill and destroy anyone that stands in Kira's way, which I thought was kind of odd. And like, but it goes to show that, like, the faith that the people that serve Kira have in him, that, like, we don't need to find out more information.
Yeah.
Like, Kira is God. He will find whoever, like, got away and kill them. Like, we don't have to worry about loose ends. We don't have to worry about what information you have. Kira knows everything.
Yeah.
So it's just a really heavy, like, I think, point that, like, we are at the precipice of Light's potential control over all of humanity, and we see a boy he's probably like in his 20s. He just gets gunned down in a place like Japan, and they're all just like, well, shouldn't talk shit about Kira.
Basically, yeah.
It's wild. It's wild. Anyways, but yeah.
No, like, that is such a good fucking point, and it is like that bit of world building that I feel like just doesn't really get like a chance to breathe in season 2.
Yeah.
Like, this idea that, like, this society is forever changed. Whether or not Kira gets caught doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, at this point, yeah, people are fucking scared to even just, like, lie. Like,
seriously though, like, and you're so right about, like, in season 2, we really, I mean, for me personally, like, I just really underestimate, because we're so focused on Kira and Light and trying to weave his way to freedom. his position right there, like, we don't really realize the impact that he's had. Like, this, even the ending of this show, like, as much as we get to see Light's madness, like, to me,
Yeah.
it's always still felt very, like, Light-centric. It's very still felt, like, Japan-centric.
Yeah.
But there's a really good video that, I can't remember the name of the channel, but it's the guy that's like, welcome to game theory.
No.
Yeah, he does this amazing video on, like, how many people did Light Yagami kill with the notebook? Not just Light, like, anybody that came into the possession of the notebook, like, through his control or instruction, yeah. How many people did they kill? And you get an idea of, like, genocide doesn't even begin to cover it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it does. I mean, it's definitely genocide, but, like, the impact, it just puts in perspective, because, like, he says, like, we tend in season 2, he's like, it tends to slip people's minds that, like, when we're all wrapped up in just kind of like, oh, will Light get away? Like, people are still out there being actively murdered every fucking day. Like,
that's true, yeah.
And he really puts it in perspective, and it's a very generous, like, very kind of, like, low estimate of if they at least killed this many people a day. It breaches, like, 200,000 people. It's crazy. And if you think about Japan alone,
yeah,
like, that's a huge number of people. So if you guys have time, check it out. It's a really cool video, just to kind of put season 2 in perspective for you, and to make you realize that, like, we're not just fighting against, like, a pretty boy with an ego. Like, this is like the very beginning of a reign that would have, like you said earlier episodes, it would have resulted in a world like Psychopaths, where, like, if you show an emotion, you get killed. You know, it's like, it's very scary. We miss the big picture.
God, we should watch Psychopaths.
I can't. Like, I understand it's a cool premise for a show, but, like, every time I've started to watch that, I've been so drunk and just around shitty people, and I'm just like, wow, it's a really cool show, alright. Like,
you know, that's fair. Anyways. So after that, after kidnapping Takeda, like, you know, Mel sees, like, that Matt's been killed, and he's like, oh, fuck.
This is serious.
This is serious. As he basically tells Takeda, like, you need to strip, I'll give you a blanket, but I don't I don't fucking trust you. You got a death note somewhere in there. And she, like, does.
She does.
It's on her titties.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and honestly, like, at this point, I always get really uncomfortable, and I'm like, why does he make her do this? And then I see her, like, crunch it under her hand, I'm like, motherfucker, like, there's, you know, these writers, they just take any opportunity they can, but, this part is just, it's like, gross. I know that we don't, it's gross, like, this, I mean, not only, like, is it gross, but, like, as someone that's, like, grown-up female, like, just a lot of, like, the way that they treat women in the show is bad, and, like, especially when you look at Naomi and the way that she dies, when she had, like, every chance in the world to be, like, the best at what she does, and, like, some fucking, like, C-rate husband, like, keeps her from doing her job, even though she has very valid points, because he's like, go make me a cup of tea, want to get ready to be parents, and I'm like, jeez. So, I don't know, to me, like, this scene is just so hard to watch. It's so sad, because the voice actor, like, for Takeda, as insufferable as Takeda has been for most of the show, does such a good job, because, like, she sounds so scared. You see her take the notebook piece right out of her bra, and she, you know, Mello gives her the blanket, and he's just like, you know, okay, bye, and he goes into the front of the car, and then you see Takeda, like holding the piece of paper, and you know what's about to happen.
Oh, yeah.
She ends up writing his name, saying that, like, I'm sure, like, he commits suicide or something, because the next time we see Mello, his head is bloody, and he's laying on the steering wheel, and you're like, son. And you know, like, it has to be a serious scene for me to, like, focus on something other than Mello's death, because, like, I love Mello.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a really sad and shitty way for him to go. It was very anticlimactic and very sad. And Light is stoked about it, because
Yep.
when Takada finally gets him on the line and she's like, I've been kidnapped, I'm in a truck, I don't know where I am, and she sounds so fucking scared. Like,
Yeah. No,
this
the
scene
voice
is,
actress here is
oh,
so good at her job at conveying like literally this just she's fucking scared. Like she's
she's
never
terrified, and she's being abandoned, like verbally.
yeah.
She knows, like, the cues that Light is giving her, like you're going to be abandoned. I don't think she knew he was about to do what he was gonna do, but I think it's just terrible. Like, she is scared. She's got tears in her eyes. She's like, I did what you told me to. I did what you told me to. And she's
Yep.
not saying anything that could, like, hint as to what that is. She's still being so loyal and so careful. And Light's like, do you remember what I told you to do after that? And she's like, yes, but please, like, save me. And he's like, calm down. And he says something, it's just very curt with the way that he, like, addresses
Exactly.
her. And I'm like,
Yeah.
she's literally been stripped down and she's had to kill someone that's right next to her. And I'm like, babe, like, he doesn't care about you. He's a sociopath. Like, he is literally out here looking out for number one, which has always been himself. It's just heartbreaking. It's so violent and terrible and
It
scary.
is.
And yeah, so basically they're all like, oh, I was able to trace the call, let's go save Takada. And on the way there, Light makes a fatal mistake and writes Takada's name, and in time of, he basically writes that she burns
Yeah.
everything around her, dies in a suicide by burning everything, and including everything that she was holding. That's what he writes on a piece of the notebook.
Yep.
Because Matsuda and Aizawa are like, let's go, we'll be your chauffeurs. Light can sit in the back of the limo unguarded and unwatched. And he's just like, click, click, time to do a little throwback to the helicopter. And
It's great. Yep.
Pisses me off. Anyways, it's a really emotional scene. It's, as much, you know me, like, I have never said a good thing about Takada in my life because I don't enjoy her character, and I only enjoy when Misa's getting drunk and shit. She's like,
Yeah.
you stupid bitch. But this is one of those episodes where I'm like, okay, like, I'm ready. Like, I love Light Yagami as a villain, and I love him as a character. He's fully fleshed out, he's wonderful, he's beautifully written, but I'm ready for him to die. Like, I'm ready to watch him
I've been
suffer.
ready for him to die since episode 12.
You truly have, and, like, that's totally, that's totally valid. Like, I mean, he's a terrible person. For the thrill of it all, I'm like, I'm okay with, like, the oh, he's getting away, oh, he's not getting away, and then it's like, there just becomes, like, I mean, even with what he does and says to Misa, like, as someone, you just grow up in a patriarchy, and you're like, she's a dumb lady, like, I mean, we've stan Misa this whole freaking show. I was like, we love Misa, like,
we fucking love Misa.
We love Misa, like, she's great, and that's something that, like, literally came about in this watch of Death Note for me. I was like, damn, I love Misa, like, she's a great character, she's really, really interesting, and she's really, really stupid, but, like, I love that about her. She wants one thing, and she's gonna get it, but when you grow up in a patriarchy, you're like, well, I mean, like, she did say this, and she did say that, like, she did, and you're like, yeah, like, she consented to being used, but, like, that doesn't change the fact that, like, she's a troubled girl,
right?
And Light Yagami is not so much troubled, so as much as he just is,
he's an abuser.
He's just manipulative. He's an abuser. He's a horrible person. And, like, it's not that was, like, a question in my mind at any point in the show. He's always been a bad person. But, like, there just gets a certain line that you cross at, like, I mean, I'm at that line. I'm at that line when they lock Misa up and they're like, this is fine, we have to, like, censor the cover when we release this edition of the manga because it's so freaking suggestive, and I'm like, it makes me a little uncomfortable, and they're like, it's fine, she's fine, everything's cool, let's get on with the plot. But, like, you watch Light, and his voice actor does such a good job of just being like
a slimy dude.
Oh, he's so awful. He's just like, do you remember what I said? And she's just like, her voice, she's so scared. I don't know, something about that, like, in my brain, it just clicks at this part of the show, and I'm like, this was it. This signs like, I'm ready. You know what I mean? It's the
Yes.
closure that I need to be like, Light is a bastard and he
Yeah.
needs to die. Like, he doesn't just need to go to jail.
He
Like,
needs to die.
I have to watch him bleed out in front of me, and the show is like, good news. So,
Good news.
anyways, thanks for letting me go on that huge tangent.
No,
Let's get on with
absolutely,
it.
absolutely. Actually, before we get to the next episode, because we've been
Yeah.
at this for about 40 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break to relieve myself and to also wet my whistle so much.
Same.
So that way we can go ahead and get into these last two episodes and then spend an exorbitant amount of time talking about those episodes, but also talking about like these spin-offs and shit. I feel like we'll talk about a little bit with our tertiary experience with the films, but really it's the musical that's where it's at.
Oh
So,
god, I'm so excited. Like, okay, I won't say anything. Yes, I'm so excited. Let's finish Death Note off. Let's go wet our whistles, and we'll be back.
yep, we'll be right back. All right. All right, episode 36, 128. So we open up on a bunch of different news outlets basically being like, we're going to be the next Kira spokesperson. We're going to be the next Kira spokesperson. Well, it was like, this ain't a woman's job. And it's just like, that's great. Awesome.
Gross.
Great. So, yeah, it's like, this is peak TV parasitic energy. It's great.
Yeah, no, you're so right. I actually saw that note that you made, like the parasitic TV. I was just talking with someone the other day about like just the hurricane that's coming in general. If anybody doesn't know, this is being released, I'm sure, after Hurricane Dorian has sailed its way up the East Coast. But yeah, it just, like, we were just talking today about how the media just hypes everything, and they're
absolutely.
like, give me views, it's like it's all they care about. So I saw that note, and that's like immediately what I thought of. I was like, man, they really are just like feeding off of the panic, and they're just like tripping over themselves to serve Kira. And I'm like, I can't wait to see where all of these people go. Like,
once the killings stop.
Once the killings stop and Kira has been arrested.
Unquote. So after that, basically we cut to Nier just like, getting ready and stuff. Everybody's getting ready for this meeting. Basically Nier basically mimicking L, like, let's all go do our best out there.
Yeah, he really is, though. Like, it kind of warms my heart because, like, you see Nier. I mean, at the very beginning when we see Nier, he's like 15.
Yeah.
And he's just like, if you can't win the game, if you can't solve the puzzle, then you're just a loser. And he dumps the whole thing over. That's such a testament to, like, where Nier is at that point and who he is. And, like, we get to watch him work with his own team of investigators and realize that, like, with Giovanni, like, we know that he's just like, touch the notebook, do it, you know what I mean? Like, and we kind of get that sense of, like, Light telling his dad to, like, press forward and get the notebook and find Mello, like, it's a dangerous thing to do, but, like, we still have that guy in the headset telling us to do it because, like, he's safe, he's smarter than you, people are pawns, and you get that kind of vibe from Nier, but, like, now he's just like, let's do our best. And you get this sense that, like, he's come to understand that and learn a lesson from this after losing Mello, or what he's going to explain, obviously, in losing Mello. I think it's really cool that, like, we get to see Nier really become the true successor to L, and learning that, like, we don't just do this to be the best. Like, we do this because human lives depend on us, and it's the right thing to do. And it just makes me really happy because Nier started out, we needed a savage to kill Light. We needed a savage to track him down and corner him. And I like that out of doing this kind of thing, like out of hunting down a serial killer.
Yeah.
Nier gets this piece of L and this glimpse into L that's like, okay, like I get it. Like I've had men under me.
Yeah.
I've watched my entire team die right in front of me in slow motion.
Yeah.
And it's been really impactful, and I like that because like we all like to think that like, yeah, it takes a criminal to kill a criminal, not even like criminal, it just takes like a savage to kill a savage, but like Anir comes out of this with more humanity than he started, which is not how you would expect a fight
Yeah.
up against someone like Light to end in. So I like that. I think it's really cool that he's just kind of grown encouraging, and he's encouraging his people like, let's do our best, let's get into this, like we can do this, everything is going to be okay, and it's good.
Yeah. So, Aizawa is as tense as I am at this moment. Because he's like, alright, we got the notebook. It's in my neat little custom breast pocket now. And it's time to go ahead and do this thing, I guess. So,
I guess.
As they're driving Light, this is where you said he's got the smuggest look on his face.
Oh god, he's so excited. Like he just knows. Like the look, you can't. I gotta buy the rest of the manga because I just got to see like how much more beautiful he looks.
Oh yes,
in the manga when he's just like, I'm about to rule the fucking world. Like finally, no one else is coming after me. Like he has this look of like, it's over. I've won. I have no question about it. And it's just, it makes the ending so much more sweeter. It's beautiful.
So after that, they get to the warehouse, and this orchestral score just like swells.
It's so whimsical.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you don't expect. Like to me, I was surprised, and I've seen the show a million times, and I'm like, dang, and I've seen the ending a lot, and I'm just like, I'm always so surprised by like how excitable and whimsical it sounds. I made a note in my notes. I was like, this sounds like Skyward Sword. Like,
yeah,
it's just a lot of like wood instruments. It's very like light and exciting, but there's just enough like off keys in the background that make you like not just excited but like wary.
Yeah,
it was really well done. I think it played in really well to the whole mood of the atmosphere at this point.
It did. And so as they get there, Nier's behind an L mask, and Light is just disgusted. He's like,
he's so mad.
He's so mad. How dare you masquerade as my dead kind of boyfriend?
Oh, he's so like, honestly, the dialogue that he gives at that point is so funny. He's just like, I knew that you'd do this and blah blah blah, and he really just lists out like a bullet list. He's like, this, and this, that's why you're an idiot. And not like does he end and conclude with like, like I'm better than you. He concludes with like, you're nothing compared to L, and I've already triumphed him. It speaks volumes for how far ahead Light thinks he is, because I think in general, like when he looks at L and when he insulted L or just talked about him in the past, he was always like, I'll kill you, you son of a bitch. He was desperate. He was chained up to the man that was trying to kill him. He was on a leash. And in this moment, he's just like off the leash. He's like, how dare you pretend to be my man L
on the leash?
Literally, how dare you pretend to stand where he stood, even though I killed him. I like that part. I love it a lot because it speaks like a lot of telling points about Light's character, that like he really did have a lot of respect for L. He really did not care about him.
Respect is a stretch.
It's the only word I can come up with in the place of like horny on main. Like, I don't know what else to say. They were gay.
Yep.
But yeah.
Oh god. So he comes out and he's in the L mask, and everybody's like, listen, we're risking our lives here, and you're behind the mask. You're like, it's basically a precaution. I'm the only one that this guy doesn't know.
Yeah, it's a really good point though, because I mean, it forces the SPK to take into consideration that like their faces have been out there. Not only that, but with who Nier suspects, like, and I know they've always thought that like Light could be Kira, but it's always been this point of like, prove it, and now it's just like, if I can't, you're gonna die, because he's
Yeah.
being forced into a situation where, like, if he's proven guilty, he will kill you, or he will attempt to. And they're like, shit. You can see the Matsuda's face. He's like, how come you get to hide behind a mask? And Nier's like, it's not my fault that y'all been letting a serial killer get away with murder for the last 2 freaking years.
And Aizo was
5.
like, nah, he got a point, though. So after that, he's like, yeah, within 30 minutes, we should all be dead, basically. So I'm just going to go ahead and chill out here for a bit. Y'all are welcome to join me.
Yeah, he's like, I'd like to wait 30 minutes to make sure that nobody's under Kira's control. And if they are, I guess we'll all be dead. And Matsuda's like, what?
Matsuda's like, what do you mean this job might have meant I was going to die?
You can hear Sonichio being like, Jesus Christ, Matsuda in heaven. He's just like, so, I fucking hate this kid.
I hate this kid.
But I love him.
So after that, basically 30 minutes pass. He's like, well, time to take off the mask. Alright, so here's the deal.
It's not a mask.
It's not a mask. So, Light is Kira. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Light's fucking Kira. You want proof? Look at the rest of this anime. Like, look at what the fuck has happened. Here's a Hamburglar mini to go ahead and convey how much of a child it is.
It really does have that fucking... That little mini-me of Light is so funny to me, because it just so embodies the way that, like, L and Nier see him. I can feel L when he's like, it just squishes it between his fingers.
It's great. And
he's such a baby.
And then after that, he's like, it also kind of doesn't matter, because, like, it's not Light who's going to be killing us. It's somebody else. They're like, what do you mean? And he's like, he's probably going to go ahead and peek through that fucking door like a fucking idiot. Yeah. And just go ahead.
What? No. No, of course not. No.
No.
Making me worry you. He's like on the radio.
And he's like, yeah, he's going to like come in like 3, 2, 1. Oh, look, there's the creepy eye. That scene with the eye is so, like, over-dramatic, but at the same time is so unsettling and just not great until you get to him actually talking, and he's like, delete! And he gets the fucking yaoi sparkles.
Yeah! His sweat, he's like Edward Cullining, just like, delete! Like, throwing... It's so funny, though, because, like, really... I think it just kind of has this testament to, like, what the whole point of this show is, which I think is that power corrupts. Yeah. And it's not even that power corrupts the best of us. Like, this isn't like Gotham's White Knight, you know what I mean? This isn't that kind of situation. It's not like, if I can turn the best of you, like, Light Yagami was, quote-unquote, the best of us, but, like, not really.
Not really, no.
Like he wasn't... I feel like there was always something in Light that wasn't quite human, and you look at someone like Mikami, who is almost unbearingly human, like to the point where he's been like, I act out like this because I genuinely understand what it means to suffer.
Yeah.
And like Yagami's like, I don't understand it, but it does make me really upset on like a really different level. And Mikami's like, he's just this really, like, he's just been bullied his whole life, and he's like, my mom's dead, and it's because she didn't, like, agree with me, and you're like, whoa, buddy. Whoa. Like, it's really, and you see the progression of him, like, working out in the gym, being like, I'm fucking Jungkook from BTS, and then he's just like and then he's just, like, animalistically, like, like, looking through the door, and you're like, just don't. It's such a good... To me, I love seeing Mikami, because we're about to see Light just like that, where, like, Mikami is a pawn. He's a pathetic pawn at this point, because he's been given a godly power, and we all like to... You know, the whole show likes to say that, like, they've earned it through, like, the suffering, and, like, you know, this is why he is the way he is, and it's like, it doesn't change the fact that, like, you have a power and you used it to kill people without trial. Like, you just... he's completely lost his damn mind. He peeks in that fucking window, and not even the window, the door, and
Yeah.
he's just like, he sounds like fucking Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. He's just like, and he starts, and I'm like, God, this is the same, like, Edward Cullen we saw working out in the gym, like, 2 episodes ago,
Yeah.
and now he's just like a animal. It's sad.
And meanwhile, fucking Light over here, he barely holds back. He's like, I'm about to bust a nut.
He's literally like, no, I can't laugh yet. I have to hold it in. And like
his voice actor quivering. He's like, I have to hold it in.
It's so good. Like, this is literally
it's
like
so good. It's so good.
I'm so glad that, like, as someone that despises Light and someone that, like, loves Light, not because I think he's right, but because I think he's a beautifully written character, like, we can both come to this precipice and be like, he is trying so hard not to lose it, and his voice actor did such a good job. He's just like, what am I doing? And like,
he's like, no. I gotta wait.
And it literally is his downfall. Like, not okay. Like, killing Takeda was his downfall, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like, oh my god, like, because he cannot hold it in. This whole moment where all of them are like, oh my god, and then he's just like, please. Nier's like, please don't react to the guy that you're seeing peeking in the
don't do it.
Being like, the lead.
And Light's like, I won. And he's like, I told you to do one thing.
Why did God, it, like, literally, if Light, I genuinely believe that, like, with Light's exceptional talent for lying and for talking, like, all I can hear is Elle being like, you sure do talk a lot like Yagami. Like, yeah. Like, all I can hear is that, and then, like, Elle being like, from the moment you were born, has there ever been a point where you've told the truth? And that silence, if he had just stayed quiet, if he had just been able to hold it a few more seconds, like, he could have, I genuinely believe, not that he could have, like, talked himself out of being arrested, but I think
he could have talked himself out of being the Kira.
I think he genuinely would have been able to convince at least Matsuda, maybe, that, like, I'm not guilty. I'm being set up. I've been set up from the beginning. Like, he starts with that. Like, you can tell, like, it was like a frantic plan B. He throws it in episode 7. But he can't at the end of episode 6. Well, Nier, looks like I win, and, like, his eye, like, slides over. He's so excited. He's so ready. This is the Light we've been waiting for.
And on top of that, so, like, the dude's just screaming delete it, like, at the outside. Everybody's like, what the fuck was that noise? And Nier's like, listen, but you already busted a nut out there. Why don't you just come in? Like, just come on in. It's fine. And Light's like, yeah, buddy. Why don't you just come on in? And Nier's like,
he's like, God.
And Nier's like, you literally just said that you won. Do you really want to implicate yourself this for, like, any further?
Literally, like, he just literally, oh God. And, like, can we, like, before this show ends, we just have to talk about, like, the last looks that Light is serving before he, like, falls to shreds, like, a mortal man that he is. But, like, we have to remember that, like, Light was here, and he was, like, chin up America's Next Top fucking model, like, Mikami, is it? Yes. Why don't you come in? And Mikami's like, God! And he's, like, cupping in his pants, and he's like, yeah, I'm here, yes! And he, like, swings the door open and walks in, and
he starts counting down.
Yeah, and he does, and he's just like, hey, how long has it been since you've written those names down, Mikami? This person I'm just now meeting? And Mikami's like, 37, 36, and he starts counting down really dramatically, and that's where episode 36 ends.
As he just counts down to 40, and it's just a hard cut there.
It's so good.
And then episode 37, we pick right back up at 40. And everybody's like, wait. We ain't
We're
dead.
not dead. And then fucking Light's
Light
face.
and Mikabe's face is just like, what? Like, and I love it. It's just like, Light's just, it opens up with this episode being like, this is it. My perfect victory. I win. And my first note was like, spoilers, Light doesn't win.
Yeah, I saw that and I was just like, perfection. First note of Joe's episode 37, New World. Here we are, it's the New World. First note, spoilers, Light doesn't win. Like,
I love their faces. Their faces are the best thing of this fucking anime.
So good. Like, he's just like, Nani? Like, he just literally has the like,
I want to imagine like a super buff Nier just looking at Light being like, oh my boy Shinderu. Nani?
Just that's literally it. And like Monson is just like he's like, what? We're not dead. And then Nier's just like, yeah, that's what I fucking said wouldn't happen. Like,
oh my god.
Oh, Light, and this is it. Like, this is all I'm about to, like, forget my notes right now. I'm just, like,
oh no,
living.
That's it. We have to talk about just, like, this entire fucking freak out. This is, like, a pro Jared level freak out right now. Where he is just, like...
video. I'm sorry, fans. Like...
He's just listing out, like, thing by thing. Just like, I didn't do this.
You've been lied to.
I'm being set up. You've been lied to. God damn it.
I can't fucking breathe.
We're topical here at Paragade After Hours.
Oh my god, my face feels like it's been in a waffle iron. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my god. Light's just like, I love how he pulls out like a fucking Star Wars shit. He's like, it's a trap! Yeah. I'm being set up! And, oh my god. Like, he loses it. Like, we get to say goodbye. Like, we got the beautiful Light looks. We got the like,
yeah.
Mikami, is it? Come on. He was like serving. And then he falls to like straight, he just loses it. Like, he loses it.
He keeps saying shit that just implicates him further.
Oh, it doesn't even make any fucking sense. He's like, no, this is a trap, blah, blah. And for the first time in this entire fucking anime, Light doesn't have an answer. Like, I don't even remember what he fucking says. Someone's like, what about this? And he's like, no, and I'm like, yes! Like, just hearing Light not have an answer ready is like, that's it. I don't even need to see him die. Like, as long as I could just see him be like, shit, I don't have an answer. And I'm like, yes!
It's so great.
You know, L is turning in his grave, and by turning, I mean, like, he's straight up dabbing. Like, he's just like, yes! God, he's so happy.
L is just in his grave, just doing Orange Julius, just like... It's great. It's so great, because I listen, my favorite part was, like, the whole Death Note switcheroo didn't make sense to me until it was finally explained. Like, no, Mikami was acting on his own. He was basically told by Light,
my god!
You do whatever you need to do in order to make sure that I'm okay. And he's like, yeah, I killed Takara because I didn't know that you would do it. And they're like,
you didn't have them. He like literally. He's just like, we knew that it was the real one because Mikami wrote down Takara's name in that real notebook. And Light, like he like looks at Mikami and he's like, God, you couldn't move freely. I had to make sure Takano was taken care of, and Light doesn't say anything, but he like screams in his head because he still
Yep.
thinks there's a chance he can talk his way out of this. He's like, "You idiot!" He just this echoing like angry voice. I
Oh,
specifically told you not to make it in the movie. Oh, it's
and
so
my
good.
favorite thing is because like Nier has had the death note the entire time. He saw Ryuk this entire time. He's like, yeah. By the way, I've had the real death note here. By the way, hi Shinigami. And he's like, hi, my name's Ryuk. Hi, nice to meet you,
Ryuk's
Ryuk.
like, Ryuk's like, "What's good? It's me, Ryuk." And he's just like, "Hey, can someone like tear a page out of the Death Note and still write a name on it and it works?" And Ryuk's just like, "Oh yeah, that'll totally work." And Death fucking Light's just like, "Babe!" Like, you could see his face.
He's like, what are you doing? And Ryuk's like, I've never been on your side. I've said this since day one. I just paid rent.
It's so good. No, that's such a good point though, because like even when we all want to throw back to that point where Nier was just like, "Hey, are any of the rules in the Notebook fake?" And Ryuk's like, "No, they are all real. Do not ask me any more questions." And Nier's just like, "Okay, so clearly your Shinigami is under your control for some reason." And we're all like, "Damn, Ryuk really became a bitch in season 2. Like, he's just like, whatever you want. Like, I just want to, like," I mean, that's the impression I got. I was like, yeah, like, Ryuk's just like, yeah, like, no, I stand Light. And then, like, he's just like, "Oh, no, yeah, you could totally do that." And I'm like, my boy's back.
My boy's back. Well,
He just literally said that, like, "No, they are all real." Just because he was like, I just want to see how far he can get before I gotta write this motherfucker's name down in the Death Note.
And it did not take long. It did take long. So after that, basically, Nier describes that if it weren't for Mello just doing his Mello shit, like none of this would.
Being I am the right brain, I am the right brain. Literally, though, like, if he hadn't gone all out and tested, like, outside of the comfort zone, like, Nier wouldn't have had any of this information. It's so, if he had not been able to confirm that Shinigami exists, like, where would this investigation be? Light would probably
still be out active.
He'd still be out there, and Mello literally laid down his life. I love it. This is such a testament to, like, L's legacy that, like, I don't know. Okay.
So, my favorite thing is like, the reason why, like, Takada acted out, and this is what led, like, fucking Giovanni to be like, I gotta tail him because motherfucker doesn't check his bank account more than once a month.
Yeah, and then suddenly
he checked it twice? Nah, that seems fucking weird. This dude goes to the gym on New Year's Day. Like, that shit ain't normal.
Routine is key.
That shit ain't normal. So, yeah, when he went to the bank the second time, I was like, yo, what's up? And that's when I found out. They're like, oh, there's the Death Note. Oh, there's the Shinigami.
Yes, he's using a fake one. Like, yeah, it really... Oh, they were just... not careless, but it's... Light was literally caught...
Yeah.
For being too perfect, for choosing too perfect of a disciple, like for choosing someone that was too much like him.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, it's
so
poetry.
Great.
It's pure poetry. And like back to the whole like Nier being like, time for a word from our sponsor, Mello. Like, can we talk about the echo of L that this is? Like, yeah, like, you got my emotional side, you got like my emotions, you got like my horny on main, like you got the human side of me, but like justice and logic still prevailed, and I told you that it would, and you didn't fucking listen. You were like, I'm gonna kill my boyfriend, everything's gonna be fine. And I was like, don't do it, bitch. And you were like, why? And I was like, just don't. And then you did it. And I was like, who let the dogs out? Bahamut, fucking 19 goddamn 98, just get them. And so they did, and I love Mellow and Light, and
Uh,
not Mellow, but I love Mellow and Near and L and this whole setup, because like even in his successors, like the metaphor is clear that like Light, not, I mean, like we all know that like there was really no way that like L could have prevented his death, but like, I mean, like maybe there was, like, I don't know, there's this terror between like, we see it, like we see that L cared about Light, we see that L became attached to Light, and while it may not have been like the direct cause between like, or, you know, because of what happened, like it may not have directly caused his downfall, like it was still a weakness that he had. And this
yeah.
season is so poetic and so metaphorical, because like Mellow and Near really are like the emotional and logical sides of L coming back from the grave to get Light. And
Yeah.
who gets him? The logic. Does he kill the emotional side? Yes. But like, who prevails? Logic. The kid that's like, I watched my whole team die in front of me, and like I'm still just like, I gotta win the game. You know what I mean? Like he still
I
is
still
out
got
here.
skin in the game.
He's still that bitch. Like he's 100% that bitch. He's out here like still like, do it, touch the notebook. I don't care. I need to know what's real. I need to grasp it. I need to solve this puzzle. And he does. Like he gets Light, and it just,
It
I don't know. There's something to be said here about the whole theory that like Light has completely split into two personalities, which like I think has some what's the word?
merit.
Merit. Yeah, I think it does have some merit, that like Light completely does create a persona. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
to say that he wasn't always like capable of this type of stuff. There's a whole talk about like the thesis behind potential, you know, and morality and stuff. But like Light always had the potential, and I think he could have gone on to live a really good and decent life if he had just been given like the proper venue for it.
Attention. Yeah.
Attention also, yes. But you look at Light and you look at L, and Light just wasn't satisfied, and he had to have
Everything.
everything. He had to have everything. He got the notebook. It completely consumed me. You look at L, and he's like, I died, but like I'm still here. And these like really interesting characters. These it gets so mad when people are like
Uh,
writing off season 2, because they're like, Mellow and Near are just dumb. Mellow looks nothing
no,
like
Mellow and
L.
Near are like the best part of season 2.
Literally, they're the only part of season 2 I can
Uh,
get any kind of energy to care about. Like
oh my
Mellow
god.
and Near are so crucial to understanding L. Like they're just really interesting, like especially from a metaphorical, just like they're him, they're L, like they're him come back, but they're free from their connection to each other, but they still have that like somber, sad, like I wish we got along kind of vibe. And that's such a testament to like what L went through with Light, and they get to come after him individually, free from their connection to Light, but not free from each other. And it's like, oh god, like L was just so
Uh,
logical, but he was still so emotional. As cold and
yes.
calculating as he seemed, L was still mellow. Like he was still like a dramatic bitch, and he still liked the flair, and he still liked to be in the helicopter sipping tea. Like, I will beat it out of you if you don't give me the information. It's good. You get to see that. And Near is just like, in conclusion, and he has his little fucking finger puppets, and he's just like, me and Mello are L, and we got you, and we couldn't do it as L, but like we're here now, and we got you, so eat ass. Like, it's
It's
such a good speech, because like it's really important to me that Near doesn't like hold himself above Mello. Like, if it was Mello, he probably would. He'd be like, yeah, and it was all my idea. But like, Near has learned something in this. Like, Near, I feel like I have to wonder like if Elle didn't have like a similar experience,
yeah.
because Near gives me this vibe. He's so much like Elle, and we all think like, it's just like Elle with white hair. But like, he goes through something here where he experiences, and he gives credit to someone that like he's I think truly respected and
Right.
loved his whole
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
with Mello. but he stops and he's like, by the way, and this is in the middle of convicting the greatest serial killer of all freaking
Of
time.
all
And
time, yeah.
and not only that, but winning a game that Elle couldn't win. And what does he stop to do? He gives credit to Mello. He's like,
Yeah.
by the way, I want you to know that I could not have done this without Mello, without him interfering in your life and coming up with the conclusions that he did. It was Mello that came to these conclusions and gave me the information that I needed. And
Yeah.
you know why? Because we were both under L, so suck it! And like, just like freaking out, and he's having a freaking panic attack. It's amazing. It's
Oh
so
my
good.
god.
I'm gonna calm down now.
No,
I've
no,
talked
no,
a
no.
lot.
I'm so glad that you said that because it's like this really was like if season 2 was just all about Nier and Mello, like
I wish it was.
if they just cut Takada out, if they just
Yeah.
cut like it it's because one, it's not because I want less women characters. It's more because that is these writers' weakness. They don't know how to write women at
They
all.
don't. They don't. And I think the thing that I don't know. Like personally, I think like you look at Naomi
Yeah.
and I'm like, great character, and they're like, yeah, we gotta kill her because she's too good. And I'm
Exactly,
like, y'all
yes.
are cowards. Like, come up with a way. Like, I mean, like, and it's I mean, they kind of did the same thing to Elle, where they're like, he's too good. Like, he's got it figured out. We gotta kill him, or Light's gonna lose the game, and, like, we're not gonna have a show. And I'm like, fair. But, like,
You had 27
Like-
episodes. You had
They had
27
20
episodes. It was fine.
I know. Like, God. And
Uh,
Naomi is good. She's so good. And you look at Takada, and she's not that good. She's not that interesting. She's like some kid that, like, Light went to high school with. She was literally that kid on the bus. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure she was the kid that, like, Light was dating in high school when he killed that hijacker on the bus. Like, let's throw back to all those episodes ago where, like, she comes into play, and that's really interesting. But, like, think about how much more they could have done with that. Like, I don't know, just like, I mean, they could have done so much. They could have, like, had,
yeah.
not that I would have been particularly, like, stoked and invested in it, but, like, it would have given them some depth. Like, let's say, like, Takada runs a TV show and Misa's been on the show before, and they
Right.
have beef prior to that due to other things other than Light. They're not just all so central on Light. And I know
I
that's, like,
know.
this
I know.
whole show was written for Light, and that's just so painfully obvious to the point where we're like, I've been with Baby Boy since day one. Do I appreciate that every piece of this character development has been poetically and wonderfully written? Yes. So much so that, like, yeah, you've convinced me. I'm ready for Light Yagami to die. Like,
Alright. So, Bran, I'm gonna make a request here.
okay.
Because I've been waiting for this since episode 1. Can I describe the downfall of Light Yagami?
You may. I have no guarantees that I won't also describe
No,
the
you're
downfall
fine.
of,
You're
like,
fine.
please.
But I need this. I need this.
You have earned it, my friend. Please.
Alright. So,
Go off.
Nier goes through this entire thing basically saying, like, this is why you fucking eat ass, get fucked. And Light realizes, why hide it anymore? Why fucking hide it anymore? I'm Kira. That's
Yep.
it. I'm Kira. So what are you gonna do about it, bitch? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I'm going to arrest you. I'm going to put you, like, in jail. I'm going to maybe execute you. Doesn't fucking matter. Point is that, like, you're fucking evil. It's like, no. You don't understand. I'm not evil. I'm Kira. I'm the god of this new world. Since I've come into power, you know what the fuck has happened? Wars have stopped. Crime rates have gone down by 70%. Which, when he said wars have stopped, I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I want to hear that story. What do you mean wars have stopped?
No, but like honestly, if you think, I mean, like to be honest, this is a real jab at the United States because like that's the only major country that we saw officially bow down to Kira in the show was the
Yeah.
United States, and he's like, wars have stopped, and I'm like,
Get
what a hot take that is.
no, 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 no. Get fucked. I'm looking at this from the Gundam perspective. I'm looking at it from like the fucking like the anonymous perspective of just like, hey, guess what? It's like war. You don't learn the names of all the people who have died in war. You'll learn the names of everybody who has started a war. That is just it. You never learn that fucking shit. And for the most part, Kira has been like a public-facing entity. So it's like, I'm interested to learn, like, how the fuck has war stopped? That is a fucking big thing right there.
Probably means like, hey, the U.S. pulled out of Iraq after like 20 fucking goddamn years.
No,
of
that
pointless bullshit.
don't get me wrong. I understand this is coming from Light, so it's probably not true. So, but I want to see.
Joe's just like, anyways, you preppy son of a bitch.
I get it. I get it. Like, I understand that this is not true. Probably, maybe. So,
Joe's just like, it's like wars have stopped, and Joe's just like, I'm gonna rewind real quick, and it's just L, and he's like, have you ever told the truth in your whole goddamn life?
It's like, I'm gonna rewind the tape. I'm gonna show Jeff Bezos on the screen real quick. You know what's gonna happen next? The 1-year war, and we're gonna drop a colony onto Earth. Mobile Suit
We're going
Gundam.
to space. Bye, assholes. Just enjoy your 2-day shipping.
Oh, I hate this. Anyway, so after that, Nier basically just like stops him dead in his tracks. He's like, "No, you're not a god. No, you're not that good." And he's been saying the same thing since I said the same thing I said since day one. You're a serial killer.
It is such. I wrote down every word because it's such an important quote. It's just as important as L. Like his perspective on Light, I feel like is just as important as L's when he's like, since a moment were you born, have you ever told the truth? Has there ever been a moment told you? And Nier says, Kira lays it out. Like, he's just like, wars have stopped. I'm a good person. Because he knows he's been caught, and he's just like, what are you going to do? Kill me? I am literally the law and order of this new world. And Nier's just like, and he sets up not even convincing, but it's a heavy statement of like, if we take out Kira, like, think about the cleanup you're about to do. Think about the mess that you were going to have to correct, the mindsets that you're going to have to change to going back. The world will see this as a step back. You're going to be the one that has to answer to that. Like, and it's convincing.
I love that you say that, Bran. Oh my god, I want to see the anime after this. I need to see the cleanup after this. Because that sounds fucking rad. That sounds so fucking cool.
Honestly, like, think about the revolutions. Think about, like, the Kira followers who are still like, no, like, we saw his power. He's still here. Like, they have to think that without any... Like, how are they going to think if they were to present all the proof and evidence that they had? Like, what happens after Death Note? And that's what Light presents them with. He's like, what are you going to say to the world when you kill me? What will you be left with when I'm gone? Because I know you plan to either kill me or lock me up, but I have created a world that needs a god, and what will you do without that god? Like, he has shown them the power of God. Like, he's shown them a power beyond mortal life. How can you explain this logically? He presents that to them, and Nier has the best answer.
Can I read it?
Yes.
Alright. No. You're just a murderer, Light Yakumi. In the end, you're nothing more than a crazy serial killer. That's all you are. Nothing more and nothing less.
It is so heavy that it's so L in that moment when he's like, tell me, is there a moment in your life that you've ever told the truth. This is
Oh.
near. This is L through near. This is that you are a human being. Like, you are a boy with a notebook. You are not God. And from here, the whole tone shifts, because that is exactly what Matsuda and I think like the whole SPK needed to hear. Everyone in that room, I feel like, was not just like, not under Light's spell, but
Well,
like
even
under
like
the big picture.
even like Mikami needed to hear that.
Yeah,
Like
he
Mikami
totally did.
need to hear that like this isn't God.
No, he's a man with a power. Like, he's a boy. He's always been a boy. Like, and that's not to say the boy should not answer for his crimes, but he's never been a man. Like, he's a baby. He's a baby.
Yeah.
He's a high schooler that found a notebook, and he went from there. Like, he never...
Oh God.
It's so good. It's so good that Nier says this.
I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of like just made it so much more better for me. Like, you placing it in that aspect has just made this anime like.
Was it not worth it?
Was
it not worth the journey?
I will argue that the last 6 episodes were a fucking slog.
Okay, I will
wish...
agree with you. They were awful. Like, and I love Death Note, but I don't remember these because I'm pretty sure I just blot them out every time I rewatch this show.
So, all right, we'll go ahead and do this in our sort of like, I guess, sort of recap. Not really recap, but more like deconstruction after this. Yeah. Let's move on to the rest of the plot here. Where, after Nier says that, Light realizes, oh, I'm not going to change the hearts and minds of these people. So, what makes you think that notebook that you got there is the right one?
Oh, this is so funny.
And Nier's like, is he bluffing?
Yeah, no, he's literally like, I can't tell if he's actually this desperate and stupid, or if he has a valid point. Like,
and after that, he does the whole Rolex thing, call back to the Rolex, and he goes ahead, takes it out, and he does the dramatic, like, go to his pen, and Matsuda, our boy, our lovely boy.
The moment we have been waiting for this centrist to pull, the reason this anime is redeemed. Here he comes.
Here Matsuda. He comes. He shoots his fucking hand. And, like, I love just going, what the hell are you doing, Matsuda? You
Who the hell do you think you're shooting at? Matsuda, you idiot! He's screaming and losing it. Oh, and God.
I'm so glad that this centrist finally got radicalized.
Okay.
I'm so fucking glad.
But also, like, it's such a testament to, like, Light's understanding of humanity.
Yeah.
Like, Matsuda is that man, that boy that's always been like, I can understand, like, why people sympathize or worship Kira, because, like, wars have stopped. And he's like, that's right, Matsuda, they have stopped. But it doesn't matter, because blah, blah, blah. And it's all been empty words.
Yeah.
All of that culminates at this point. And not only that, but, like, Matsuda watching Light Yagami scream and cry over his father's dead body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that all comes to a point here, and Matsuda's like, just after all of this, like, who the hell do you think you're shooting at? And Matsuda's just like, what was it all for? What did your father die for? And Light Yagami looks Matsuda in the eyes and says, my father? You mean Sorichio Yagami? And I'm like, oh my God, he's lost it. Like, this...
I've watched this twice, and this is such, like, a fucking impactful scene. You were not lying. This was so fucking good.
It's so good. This is, I think, the most credit that people can give to Light having literally 2 personalities at this point is when he literally is like, my father, and he just little, like, a little chuckle, and he's like, you mean Sorichio Yagami? And he's like, that's right, Matsuda, and all all he can do is try to twist who Surichio Yagami was to Matsuda to his
Yeah.
benefit. He's like, yeah, that's right, Surichio Yagami, your adoptive father, all those fools who died for nothing, do you want them to die for nothing? All he can do at this point is lie and manipulate. He's gone. Like, and I love that this isn't Light Yagami scrambling, like, my dad. He's not scrambling for his humanity.
No, no.
He's sheer Kira. Like, we don't get to see Light Yagami again until he's dead. I think this point when he says that and he says his father's name as though he's never met the man,
As
like
if
as
he's
though
so
he
detached.
as if he's a coworker, and I'm like, this is your father. Like, that part is so. That is what gives credit to me at the point where I genuinely think when Light purposefully erased his own memories of the Death Note, I think it created a split in his psyche that he could not erase, and tried to work with thereon from that moment, but could not. And I love that he did that, because he thought he could literally manipulate his own humanity to his benefit.
And it didn't work.
Yeah, as a human thought he could manipulate. Before he, under the power of the Death Note, I think it gives a lot of credit to the fact that, Ryuk, that quote he gives him when L is just your dad almost died. I'm sorry that he almost died of a heart attack, and I'll see you later. And Light's just yeah. And Ryuk's just everyone that's ever come into touch with a Death Note has met nothing but misfortune. And Light was I don't agree with that. I think that this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And it speaks volumes at that moment that Light is just this is who I am. I don't care what it takes. I will sacrifice. When he says my soul, I mean, in this moment when Light's who else could have done it and come this far? And even that is I've admitted my guilt. I'm Kira. He knows he's caught, but the heaviness and the weight of what he's done hangs in the air after he's said that. Who else could have done it and come this far? The answer is either no one or L.
Yep.
No one could have done what Light has done. And it's just such an empty, terrifying statement. So, I love it. And Matsuda, and Matsuda doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's your dad died for this, died believing that you were innocent, and now it's clear to me that must have also, somehow, you must have orchestrated your innocence to him.
You're a monster, is what
he's
you are.
A monster! And he literally says that. I don't remember. Yeah, no, literally. I mean, he shoots him several times. He doesn't just shoot his hand. Matsuda.
So, let me describe that scene.
Yes, please.
Because after that, fucking Light is trying to go ahead and orchestrate his innocence when, Nier notices, he's using his blood to try to write people's names. And Matsuda shoots him, several more times. And he goes up to him and he's I have to kill him. There's no way.
He has to die.
He
those
has
are the
to die.
words out of, Matsuda. Can I just, as someone that grew up very conservative.
Yeah.
And then very much did a very big 180 split and twist at a late stage, not even in puberty. I was a young adult when I was this is fucked up. Matsuda is such a beautiful character. Because I felt like Matsuda for a long time.
Yeah.
You always look at things I get it. You're just so trying to understand, and you're I get it. You know what I mean? I can see both sides so clearly. I can see it. And then something happens, and you snap, and you're
yep.
That's it! That's the That's Aaron Hansen. That's the fucking line in the sand. You gotta draw it in the sand. You gotta
That
say,
that's
what am
where
I willing to put up with today?
that's
Not
where you become a
fucking.
radicalized lefty like me. That's
Yes!
exactly where it happens.
I was Matsuda. This is why I'm like, not even a
Uh,
Matsuda apologist. I'm just like, you have to be patient with Matsuda. We were all Matsuda at some point. Maybe, I don't know. Like, maybe you've always been like L. That's
maybe you've
great.
always been a near.
Maybe you've always been in here and you're like, no, you're just a serial killer. And I'm like, well, people aren't dying, so that's kind of good. Like, I mean, people are dying, but like, drastically they're bad. Like, there are points where, like, I just personally, as someone that's gone through a 180 shift in their life, I mean, like, it's been very, very, very impactful. And I watched this anime when I was I was maybe like 16, 17 when I finished this anime. And I will never forget. And I loved Light Yagami. Not as like he was right. I was just like, this character is so well written. But I loved L. And I was like, I loved both of them. And I was in a very, like, central point in this anime. I was like, when I first watched this, I was like in my mind, as someone that's like, look, like, there are people that I believe out there that should die for what they've done. Like, I still believe that to this day. Like, I just could not. I was like, look, if I was late, I would be like the same way, but towards certain kinds of people, like rapists. I don't think you can be a human after you've committed something like that.
Right.
You just need to die. You know, that was the thought process that I had. This anime was so thought provoking for me as a young person that was still like trying to be really conservative, and so
yeah.
It was really groundbreaking for me. And Matsuda at the end of this anime being like, he has to die. He has to die. It was such, but like, there's so much peace. Like, is that weird to say? There's so much peace behind Matsuda's statement and behind his tears.
Yeah.
Like I excused you. Not only did I excuse Light Yagami, but but I understood Kira. I understood both of them. Understanding who you are, that you're the same person, negates anything that either of you could have said or made sense to me. You have to die. And that was it. Like, I love it. I love Matsuda. He's such a switch. He's such a...
He honestly...
He's the last straw of this anime.
He honestly had this character arc that made me go from like, oh, he was a centrist. It's like, no, he was a centrist in the process of getting radicalized into a lefty.
Yeah,
like
that's what makes Matsuda such a compelling character. Cause,
yeah.
He's always been the comic relief, and I'm like, I feel you, Matsuda. Like, we make jokes. We're just there to like relieve the tension and like a difficult conversation. It's all good. Like, I'm not really useful, but like, I'll make a joke, and everyone's like, oh, Matsuda. And then like at the end of this anime, like, he is in tears. He's literally shooting holes in the... I mean, like, no hesitation. Can we talk about a really quick flashback to when Sorichio was shot several times by either... Yes. Okay. And Mello's just like, I don't give a shit. And then the guy's like, in the back of Sorichio, and he's got a
semi-automatic machine gun.
Yeah, but he's got a bulletproof vest on, but I'm just like, okay, that's not going to block everything, you know what I mean? And Matsuda comes in, boom, locks in, and it's just like, bam, kills the guy, does not think. That moment is so telling, and it's so exciting, because we see this glimpse of, like, what Matsuda has to give and offer in terms of loyalty when he truly believes in what he's defending. And like, that's the same lack of hesitation, that's the same true loyalty and belief that he acts with in this moment against Light, when he's just like, boom, shoots his hand, and then he's like, who are you shooting at, blah 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 blah, and he starts to, for a second, he's like asking, he's begging, make this make sense to me, Light. Like, please tell me your father didn't die for nothing. And Light says, Sorichio Yagami?
And that's where it just like sits on Matsuda
and Matsuda's
again.
Like, oh my god, it's true. And in that moment, he's not like, I'm gonna kill Light. He's just like, holy God. Like, Light Yagami, like, my dad's son has lost his mind. And then someone says, he's still trying to kill us. And Matsuda snaps. He's like, that's it. That's it. That's it. He has to die. And he does. He walks up on him, and oh my God, can we talk about Light falling in a puddle of
Yes.
water and just gasping for his mortal life? And he's just like, and he's just like groaning, and Matsuda's just like, I'll kill him. He has to die. And he almost shoots him. And someone, it's probably Aizo, it's probably Mogi, it's probably both,
Yeah.
move his hand, the bullet goes right next to Light Yagami's face, and Light's face is like, even though I'm full of bullet holes, like even though I've been shot at least 3 times, I am looking at this piece of cement that could have been my fucking skull,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm a person. Like, this is where we get the Light Yagami. This is where we get Light waking back up. And he's like, I'm a baby. I'm a boy. I'm a stupid baby. And Lael's just like, oh, I can't wait to watch this baby die. And he's just like, don't leave me. And Elle's like, I won't. Oh my God, it's so good.
So after that, Light kind of tries to stumble back up as like Matsuda is being restrained, and Mikami looks over as he's trying to get up. He's so pathetic.
Oh, he's just...
He can't even get up, and he's just
and
like...
he's crying to Mikami. He's like, Mikami! Write down their names! And he's screaming, and then he's like, where's Takada?
Where's
Misa? And I'm like, bitch, you idiot! Like, how dare you cry out for them at this point in your, like, downfall?
Oh, God.
You dumb baby. And then literally, he's, like, trying to stand up, and it looks like he's doing a yoga pose. He's just like, Mikami! Splash! And he, like, falls down in the mud, and he's like, write down their names! And he's, like, reaching for him, and Mikami's just like, my whole life is a fucking joke. And he just...
And Mikami, I don't know how he kills himself. He goes ahead...
Yeah, it's super unclear. Like, I don't know. It looks like as though he has some kind of... Like, maybe it's the pen?
Yeah.
Like, trigger warning for anybody. Like, it always... I mean, it's very...
vague.
It's very vague, but it's very wrist-related. Doesn't he, like, just kind of really violently open up his wrist?
Maybe.
And
yeah.
blood is spewing from Mikami. At some point, he's just like, this is it, my whole life is a joke. And he's just like, he starts screaming, and everyone's like, oh no, Mikami's dying. And in that chaos,
like, fucking Matsuda has, like, this dead-eyed stare as he's looking at Mikami. But then he looks at Light, who's, like, escaping, and you see his eyes wide, and he's like, Light's escaping! As if, like, that is really the most important thing to him, because it's like, no, he needs to pay. Like,
I love that. Like he's, like, Matsuda's not like, Light needs us. Like, he's getting away. And, you know, God, that's such a... And... Oh, God. I'm, like, seeing this all in slow motion. I'm so glad I decided to have a drink. I'm just going to be, like, totally candid. I'm so excited I decided to, like, have a drink. Because, like, my brain will go a million places if I'm not, like, super focused. And I'm just so excited that, like, we're talking about the last episode of Death Note. Because Light pulls this door open, and it's like... Psh, and it's like this light pouring in on Light Yagami, full of bullet holes, still trying to get away. And you're like, what? Where? What are you doing? Baby boy. And he's just like, I want to take a nap. I want to take a nap right here. I want to see L. And you're like, okay, give him that at least. He goes running out of the warehouse. Matsuda's like, he's getting away. Nier says, guys, listen, we've got all of the scraps of the notebook, and with those wounds, he's not going very far. And is it Aizawa?
yeah, it's Aizawa.
Aizawa looks at Nier and he says, Nier, no offense, but I'm not going to follow your orders. And damn if that isn't a throwback to L, because Nier just kind of gets embarrassed and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I understand. It's almost like a kid walked in on like an intimate moment. Like he's
Yeah.
just like, oh, like, fine. And he starts twirling his hair. It, it has two sides to it, in my opinion. Like, you have this moment where Nier's just like, I'm learning that like human emotion is important and like humanity is important, and I'm not just doing this to win a game. I'm not like Yagami. Like,
Right.
I'm doing this because like people are people and like they deserve to be protected and they deserve to be valued. And in that same moment, he kind of gets a glimpse into like the SBK's relationship with L, and he's
Yeah.
just kind of like, I just like that they gave that small echo to L, and they were like,
And he was like,
no
"Oh."
offense.
He's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Do whatever you want."
my bad. Like, it was like he just almost is like, oh, this isn't my place. Like it was almost like he stepped out of the way and let L and the SBK run after Light because he wasn't emotionally attached to this case. Like, all of them were. He like
Yeah.
near felt like L's like spirit in this moment, and he was just kind of like, "You right? Like, go get him. Go get that dumb bitch that's like running for his fucking life. What's left of it."
So
Oh god, in this
I-
scene,
I'll describe the ending, and then we're gonna take one more break because
yeah.
this is our extra long episode, so we gotta take
Oh,
two
it's
pee
so.
breaks. Uh, so Light is just like running, and he's like, trying to run away from this, and he sees
Oh,
like
he's crying.
he sees glimpses of his past, like before he got the Death Note, as like his past self before he got the Death Note walks past him, and you can see his
Yeah.
eyes looking at him,
Oh,
like what, like wondering what the life could have been if.
literally, I'm so glad you said that, Joe, because like, I know I genuinely expected you to be like, don't try to make me feel bad for you at this point, but like, this is a point I feel like it's so crucial to Light's end that he looks back and thinks,
What could have been?
what the fuck else could I have done with my goddamn life? Like, I was so smart and I was so good at everything that I did. Like, I think this is the rawest point of Light, not like being questioned if he's ever told the truth. He's always been putting on a damn act. As he's running full of bullet holes, holding his shoulder, crying and sobbing, and he runs past this mirage of himself carrying the notebook and looking at it with just this like kind of new dawning of curiosity, and he's just like, what else could I have done? Like,
What if I
God,
never did this?
what if I never did this? I love that. I love that, like, we get to see Light in it's very human.
Just like self-reflect for like
Self-reflect.
a single moment.
Yes, like your life, it's the only human moment, to be honest, that I can really recall from Light. It's genuinely human because he's being forced to accept the fact that he's human. He's not smarter than everybody, he's not quicker than everybody, he's not better than everybody. He's dying. And he's like, oh my god, I did this. Like, I'm the reason I'm dying. I alone made this happen. And it's just so emotional. It's so good. Not that I feel sorry for him, but I'm just like, it's just a beautifully written story. It's just a very well written story. Before we get to the final,
Yeah.
factors of
Right.
Light's demise, probably go on a break real quick.
Yeah, so I'll get into the final factors of this, and then we'll like go ahead and expand upon that.
Yeah.
After the break, basically Light goes ahead and he got himself on in the middle of a stairway, which is also very symbolic.
Oh,
But
I can't wait to talk about this.
but as he's on there, Ryuk basically says, "Hey buddy, you remember what you said when we first met? Well, I was gonna be the one who wrote your name in the Death Note.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't know how long you're gonna be in jail for, so, and I don't want to really wait that long, so
Yeah.
you're gonna die right here, right now.
I Oh god, I love that. I love that because it's so light at the
Yeah,
world. Like, it's so impatient. It's so cruel. It's
yeah,
like, I don't want to wait for the world to get better. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait for it. I'm gonna do something about it now. And Ryuk is like, I'm a Shinigami. Like, you're human. I don't want to wait for you to die. And Light's like, holy fuck. Like, I am so mortal. And Ryuk's just like, yeah, you are. And I told you when you picked up that notebook that I would be the one to write your name in my notebook. And you're full of, like, what, 4 gunshots? Now seems as good a time as ever. And Light's just like, fuck. And he's running away. Where I don't even know what he ends up in, but he's in some kind of like warehouse
yeah.
slash tower. There's a symbolicism here when he is literally on a staircase and he falls over and he lays down and he looks so fucking Edward Cullen. He looks so shimmery and beautiful and he's
Yep.
dying and he's on a staircase and we all have to think back and remember what Ryuk said about those that use the notebook, that you can neither go to heaven or hell. You can't die and suffer for eternity, and you can't go to paradise. And a lot of people theorize that that means that if you use a notebook, you become a Shinigami.
Yeah.
And Light dies on a staircase halfway through. The top and the bottom floor is just there with L looking over him with this classical music and just like, I told you this would happen. I can't, in this moment when I see L gazing over Light, and he's just got, and L, like, Light's eyes close in just super, super similarly than that, when L died,
Yeah.
his eyes and just like that slow motion, like, whoosh, and Light dies the same way. And I can't help but feel like a bit of comfort there. Like, L's like, even though you killed me, like, you caught me, and you let me know it was you before I died, and now I'm here to let you know that, like, I was always gonna win. And it's just so good. It's so...
So that is the finale of Death Note.
That's it.
We're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. We're gonna pee.
Yeah.
And after that, we're gonna go ahead and like decompress after this, and then we're gonna talk about like the other properties of Death Note that we particularly enjoyed.
Talk about the musical and feel a whole lot better.
Honestly, all right. So we'll be back again.
Okay.
So that was the end of Death Note.
Sure was.
All right. So, Bran, allow me to start off as a person who has like hated Death Note since the beginning.
Go on.
Season 2 sucked.
Okay, and I mean, that is totally valid. You were, okay, but, like, can we talk about it, though, Joe? Like, you were like, I hate season 1 because, like, we're all like, is Lane a good person or isn't he?
No. Don't get me wrong. Season 1 is objectively still bad, but it's like in comparison to season 2, like where season 2
you should have appreciated your Light content while you got it, but no, you were like, I want Light to be dragged through the mud. I'm like, well, you're gonna get it, but you don't know at what cost.
So that is just it. Is that like season 2? Like, I would have much more appreciated if it really focused more on like the near and mellow like investigation side of things, because that's where the meat was. That's exactly where the meat was. And
like, And you can understand that, like, yes, but they couldn't make, like, if it had just been, like, Near and Mellow versus Light, like, it would have been over in, like, 3 episodes.
Yeah,
We had to have some bullshit last minute plan from Light of, like, Mikami because he's perfect and I just found him on TV and talking to him because she showed me the TV and I'm just like, God damn it. I agree. Mikami and Takada got super old, super quick. I have very little interest in them other than their voice actors' performances.
yeah.
Very compelling, very, very good at what they did, but their characters were short-lived and that is just painfully obvious.
Like, I would have much more appreciated if it was just Mikami, to be honest, because
Mm-hmm.
Mikami was well thought out in, like, no, this is exactly what Light needed, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, and okay, and to be fair, like, I would postulate that, like, Mikami is what we needed to understand, like, the weight of Light Yagami's impact on the world. Like,
Yeah,
there are people out there exactly like Mikami that are perfectly fit to serve a psychopath. But then you look at Takada, who I think, in the writer's inability to grasp women as any other thing other than a plot device to,
yeah,
you know, progress the plot, the character development of a man. Um, I mean, but, like, for me personally, like, as someone that loves Light Yagami, not because I think he was always a good boy, like, I think he was genuinely just a very interestingly, beautifully written character. Nothing, like, even the point where he smacks that, like, iced tea out of Misa's hand, like, it's just so funny to me because Light is at his breaking point. He's so pissed. That's what it speaks to me. Like, there's very little points that I look at Misa and think, like, oh, that must have really hurt her, because so often does she just explicitly state, I don't care what you do to me. I don't care what you say to me. Like, as long as you're loyal to me, I'm okay with it. And, like, I know that she's written by a man. I know that no women or, like, person would actually act like that. So it's, Misa's a frustrating character from that perspective. But you look at Takada, who's like, I have self-respect. Are
yeah.
you going to, like, marry Misa? Like, or aren't you? And Light Yagami, I mean, like, she's not written to be comic relief. She's not written to be like that. And when I watch her on a phone call, like, and I get, again, up until this point, like, I'm not really sympathetic to Takada. I'm just kind of like, this bitch really thinks she's better than Misa. Like, you're the same to him. Like, we see Takada and Misa from Light's perspective, which is like, you're both the same to me. You're pawns. Like, neither of you are better than the other. Why are women like this? Why are humans like this? Like, even Mikami is like, when Takada's like, you're to do this according to Kira because he said so. It's my turn on the Xbox, and Mikami doesn't say anything, and he just clicks and hangs up the fucking phone. And he's like, I wish I was Kira's favorite. I wish I could be on TV and talk for Kira. Like, they're all like this with Kira, but it just is, like, Takada, for me personally, was that turning point where I was like, no, like I'm ready. Like before I was like, I want to watch Light Yagami rot in a cell, and now I'm like, I want to watch someone shoot Light Yagami and just turn him into a Swiss cheese. Like, I want him to die violently in front of me. Other than that, like, I can understand, like, they had to build up to that point. They had to make Takada's death seem really, like, violent and terrible. Not super necessary, I agree. I will agree with you, though. Like, I love season 1 a lot more than I like season 2. The reason I get harangued into watching Death Note multiple times by myself is because season 1 is so good, and I'm like, well, I can't just stop like I did
Right,
the first
yeah.
time I watched it.
So,
It's so good.
yeah, because that's just it. Is that, like, the Light and L dynamic is so good.
It's so good. I know it's exhausting, but, like, compared to what? Like, it's season 2.
Yeah, so, like, overall, um,
Your thoughts, Joe.
I don't think my thoughts as much as whether or not I would want to watch this again
Mm-hmm.
willingly. Um, I think I'd want to watch it in like parts, right? I feel like the
Yeah.
compilation movies would be where I would rewatch Death Note again because it's like it's condensed into 2 hour like specials, so I don't have to subject myself to more than like 8 hours of Death Note. Be-
We tackled Death Note at an exhausting pace.
but but it is just that like I feel like this anime would have much more benefited from like being condensed in certain parts, especially like during the especially during when Light loses memories because
Oh, come on. That's my favorite
no,
part.
don't get me wrong, like I like the idea of like, you know, a mega corporation getting their hands on the Death Note.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That shit is fucking interesting. It's just hampered by the fact that it's like tacked on to this part of like, you know, whether or not Light is fucking Kira. Like I would have much more appreciated
Yeah.
it if like, you know, in a twist of fate or Ryuk just be like, nah, it'd be way more interesting if you kept your memories, but you had to be forced into this fucking investigation. Uh,
Yeah.
like
I
I would have much more appreciated if Ryuk was more of the trickster god that like he's kind of presented to be. Then
True.
like I feel like if that arc was like, oh, we went ahead and imprisoned you, and Light has to just act out the part about being like, I'm losing my memories, but I have not. And also, I don't have the Death Note anymore, and this is horrible.
Like, I think we can all agree from like a perspective of someone that's now fresh out of the last episode
Yeah!
of Death Note. We're all like, man, I just want Light to suffer more. Like,
Right.
please, like we all just want him to suffer more. And like, I personally I'm really into the theory that like Light Yagami, and I'm not saying this exudes him from any kind of like
Right.
responsibility or any kind of like guilt slash innocence. I literally think Light Yagami played himself, and
You
I
played
mean, not even
yourself.
literally, like I played himself being like, okay, joke's on you, I'm gonna play myself, but joke's on you, you played yourself. Like, thinks he can literally use his own humanity against him. Like, L couldn't, like, he sees it. He's like, L's in it. Like, L's like, oh, we had a tennis match. Like, this young man needs my guidance. And Light's like, I sure do. And then he's like, I'm gonna wipe my fucking memories. I'm gonna make it so that L knows that I'm innocent. There's no way he can like not hear it in my voice, in my twink ass fucking need a mentor like baby boy voice. Is just like, I'm just bored and so smart. And L's like, oh no, my brand. Like he knew exactly how to play L. But in that, like even in that, played his. I love that. I love the downfall of Light being that like I literally have to play myself because L knows me so well and L likes me so much. I have to play myself. And from then on, I just don't think he recovers from that point of consciously knowing that, like, all of L's deductions were right and that, like, being forced to examine his actions as the Light that we started with and examine the actions of Kira Light, and we're
Yeah.
like this is it. Like I think that split destroyed Light. Not that that just doesn't excuse it. Like it doesn't excuse it. Not saying Light's like, oh, he was just influenced by the Death Note. Like yeah, but like if you can be influenced like that, like if you can fall to that, like that's the point. Like that's why L is the good guy, is because he's just like this is why we've got Nier's quote, like, no, you're just a crazy serial killer. And this Death Note is the deadliest weapon of mass destruction ever introduced to mankind. Like, he just lays it out, and he's like, no, you're not a god. You're a boy with a tool. And you
Yep.
used it very smartly. But yeah, no, I agree. Like, season 1, eons better than season 2, in my opinion, but season 2 has a lot of really fun
As a,
factors.
it has the rocket.
Yeah.
It has like pure unrestrained gay energy.
It has the rocket. It has mellow.
Yes.
It has chicken nuggies. I don't know, does it? Where are the chicken nuggies? Like,
Where are the chicken nuggies? We never
did he
got
ever
them.
get his chicken nuggies?
Oh God! But so, Bran, I would posit that to you. What would you do to make Death Note better? Because I feel like we both have opinions about whether or not Death Note could be better.
I think we both can agree that, like, okay, and, like, I'm gonna say this as, like, a bitter female presenting person that's grown up in a patriarchy most of her life. I love Misa and don't change a damn thing about her. Like, I am spitefully ready to die. Like I can feel the writers being like, if anybody deserves to die, it's Misa because she's an airhead, and I'm like, joke's on you, dumbass. Like, I just don't care. I don't care. I'm just like, no, fuck it. Like, give the airhead Misa and I think they did a good job. Like, her background makes sense. I love Misa's character, and I'm pleased with that. Now, what I'm not pleased with, like, I'm not happy with Takada's end, but genuinely, her end and the amount of time that she got, like, seemed rushed. But again, we've been tackling these episodes pretty quickly, so, like, that might have just been me. But, like,
I don't
Takada's,
because she's been here for like 4 episodes.
she's been here for 4 episodes, but we also have that small introduction with her, like, with Light on the bus. So, like, I guess they can pass that off. I would have liked more sprinkling. It would have been less of a, like, twist, you know? But, I mean, I don't think we needed a twist with Light Yagami. I think we needed, like, puzzle pieces from his past coming into play expertly. Yeah. I would have liked if Mikami and him had some connection. I would have liked if Mikami, like, and I understand that, like, we can't all have connections visibly to Light Yagami because, like, that would just be, I mean, all points to Light Yagami. It would have been super obvious. So I understand why they couldn't do that. But, like, season 2 had some problems in terms of Light Yagami's crew because they just seemed to come out of nowhere. I appreciated with Takada that they at least had the, like, semblance to be like, yeah, I mean, like, that was the girl that was on the bus with him all those years ago, and I'm like, at least there's some backstory instead of wasting, like, half an episode talking about Mikami being like, I'm glad my mom's dead because she told me not to stand up to bullies. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I guess, but, like, Mikami's character is more, like, I love him. I love his, like, I would have liked for Mikami and Takada to be swapped.
Yeah.
You know, like Mikami has the kind of, like, unholy kind of dedication to Kira that would come from a long-term knowing of him. And, like, I know that we kind of already have that with Misa, and, like, Kira killed the man that killed my parents. Like, I have such a dedication. I'm like, okay, cute. Like, great. Fantastic. But, like, with Mikami, he's so left field. Like, I feel like him in the position of a newscaster would have been...
It would have been much more appropriate.
Plausible. Yeah. Like, it would have been a lot more... But, I mean, he would have been I don't know. Like, you can spin that both ways. Be like, oh, like, Kira's spokesperson, Mikami, like, you wouldn't have gotten, like, the tearful, scary, like, goodbye, which is really what tipped me over the edge. Not that, like, Kira hasn't deserved to die since day one, but, like, Takada begging for a fucking life at the end, like, God, that just pushes me over the edge. Well, I'm just like...
I feel like, what if we actually made Death Note gay, right?
You know, yeah. Like what if we... Yeah.
because that's what light is. He's the
Okay,
forbidden fruit. He
y-
is the apple. He
yeah.
is this.
Oh, that's so. You're so right though. Like even in all like the Death Note concept art and like the promotional posters, just like
Exactly,
Ryu.
yeah.
You're so right.
So, like, I would imagine that, like, if in a perfect Death Note,
Hmm.
Mikami would have been, like, this gay lover of,
Oh
like,
yeah,
light. Like, he would have been, like, like, he would have worshipped him. He would have been like, you're the man who, like, sent me on, like, my way. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah. And he goes ahead and caresses his face, and he's like, of course I was. Granted, I would not also like this because I'd be like, this sets a horrible precedent for gay people. But also, like, I feel like that would have been much more plausible. Like the way you're
yeah,
saying, like it would have made a lot more sense that like Mikami is so heartbroken when he says like I don't know this man, and
yeah. Oh my God, he looks so
he looks
destroyed. He's just like, ah, and he just falls apart.
like that would have made a whole lot more sense if Takeda was just converged into Mikami. Like that honestly would
If
have
they
made
had been like one character, or like just like swapped characteristics,
that would have been fun. It would have been
it
fun.
yeah. I mean, like either I could go for. I personally could go for either. I I don't know. I get this like semblance of Naomi with Takeda. Like I feel like they tried to like bring back this strong like female lead.
Yeah.
No one will be able to touch Naomi like in this like to me like like they literally had to like I can't even say it was easy. Like Naomi was a mind game. They really wrote as much as an excuse as it was like like Naomi's end was really scary. Like for Light, I think that they made her an appropriate threat to Light. I guess that's maybe what my grievance is. I wish Light would have had more boy toys and more women threatening his position. Does that
Ugh.
make sense? Like
No, that definitely does make
maybe if
sense.
like
Yeah.
Nier, I also like that Nier is kind of like I mean like to me he's they're very non-binary. Both of them are kind of non-binary. Like you've got
Oh my god, what if this thing was written by gay people like us?
please.
What if it was? What if it was actually written by a non-binary person like me or you, where it's just
Yes.
like yeah, obviously like the reason why like Light is being pursued by Nier is because they're non-binary, so they're just like listen, I have literally no attraction to you because I'm asexual.
Yeah. Listen to me. I'm not weak and
Not
gay,
weak.
and he's like shit. Like
And then Mello is just like chaotic,
I'm really
non-binary,
gay, but I'm prettier than you.
like chaotic, like non-binary pan energy, where it's
Yes.
just like, ah, I'm here. I fucking everyone
I'm
except you.
15 and I control the American mafia, and I'm like, my boy. Like
Like
he,
I would have loved that. I would have loved
the,
a gay Death Note. Just give
yes,
it to
like
me.
okay, and like near not okay. Can we talk about like their voice acting too? Like I
Oh,
know
it's
that
so good.
people really write off. Not write off. I mean, it's more of like a trend. It's a and it's like as what do you call it? An expected trend when you
Yes.
have like middle aged. Not even middle aged, just women with lower voices, um, playing teenage boys,
Right.
and that's understandable because I mean like the tonal qualities are understandable. Um, with that being said, I love Nier's voice casting. Like I love it. Like it's soothing and soft, and it's
Yes.
so melodic, like Elle's voice is. And then you look at Mello, who like a lot of people like. I remember when I first watched Death Note, I was like, "It's so stupid. It's so obvious that Mello's gonna die because like Nier's just literally like L 2.0." I was really frustrated. I thought that like I mean, there was like, oh, he only has like one different thing than L has, and that what I'm supposed to believe this is a fully fleshed out character. But like, I love that Mello has like a really bratty,
Yeah.
masculine voice. Like, he's very like, what are you talking about? Like,
What
he's
are you
just,
talking about, Roger? I'm gonna go get some
Roger, what are you
tacos.
saying? I'm gonna go up to 45 and I'm gonna buy some tacos. It kills me. Like, I love it because you have the more aggressive side being like, I don't know, I just love it. I love they just,
Ugh.
oh, it's so good. It's so not. It's just not heterosexual. This anime is not heterosexual.
It's
Even
not, but it tries so hard
it
to be
tries
hetero.
so hard to be. It tries so hard to be like,
Oh.
ooh, Misa, ooh, Takada, and I'm like, first of all, like, can y'all just leave like light for each other? I mean, like, and second of all, every man that comes into contact with Light Yagami is like, yes, whatever you want, pretty boy. Like, that's.
Like, I would have so much love for the forbidden fruit, like, sort of angle on this.
Yeah.
And again, I realize that that's problematic, but
I mean, like, we do get that with Ellen Light.
I know we
Like,
do.
we
I know
so
we do.
indirectly get that with Ellen Light, where, like, Elle is literally like, I know that you're Kira, but, like, I've grown so close to you, I know you've probably orchestrated this in some way, but, like, I just want you to not be bored. Like, is this really what it takes for you to, like, feel like life is worth living? And Light's just... he's like, yes. And, like, Elle's like, I mean, if that's the case, you're gonna have to kill me, because I can't let you go on like this. And Light's like, okay, well, I will. And he's like, okay, well, I have two really gay bees that are gonna come after you. And he's like, what? And he's like, what? And then Elle dies. And then they're like, get him, donut. And they just come running.
God damn it. So, full disclosure, if, like, suddenly this podcast seems, like, a little bit, disjointed in, like, the next 4 minutes, I ordered food, cause it's, like, 8:22 here.
Bruh, I feel, wow, for once my clock is actually on point. My work clock has been weird. I think it's because I'm just like a few miles off from quote unquote pure Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, no, it's 8:22 too.
So yeah, if all of a sudden, like, I had to go ahead and cut, like, this particular moment, it's because I had to go outside to pick up my food.
What did you order?
Huey Magus.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that for me?
Huey Magus. It's a chicken spot.
I know what it is. I just know how to say it right.
What do you mean say it right?
Huey Magoo's.
Huey Magus.
Magoo's. Long A on the mag.
Get fucked. You
sounds like
fucking
maggot.
Southern.
Huey maggot. Ready for some Huey maggot.
This is
Huey
what happens.
Magoo.
This is what happens when your co-hosts, like Brad and Joe, get drunk at the same time. We go ahead and have these fucking discussions about whether the northerner way of discussing things is proper or
This
the
is the
southerner
reason.
way.
This is the reason that I've waited until the last fucking episode to actually get drunk.
Oh, god damn it.
You're welcome, audience.
Anyway, but
Of
yeah.
two people.
Yeah, no, it really is frustrating because it's like they kind of shoehorn like all these girl characters in here, and
they try so hard,
and then
I
act
want
with
them to be so gay.
with no personality, and,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, that's how they always act. It's like, that makes sense. It's like, no, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. I need to go pick up my food. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna come up. I'm gonna have to try and find. If y'all haven't watched this already, there's a YouTuber named Soul. You should watch his video called Light Yagami's Laugh is Criminally Underrated. It's really good. I know I've mentioned this video before, but I know Joe's gonna hear this later and be like, what the fuck? But I want them to watch this because it's really good. It's wonderful. It's super, super neutral take on Light Yagami. He's wonderful. Totally watch it. What else can I say when I'm unfiltered? I'm on YouTube right now. They're trying to get me to buy Us. Joke's on you. I've already bought that movie. If you haven't watched Us, totally watch it. It's an amazing movie. It scared the shit out of me. Avengers Endgame was alright. I cried a lot. Because I love Iron Man. I know he's a billionaire, but like, I don't know. I know he's rich, but he's doing good things with his money, question mark. Tony Stark has a heart. Hashtag after the words that should be in the hashtag.
Hi, so we're back. I got my food. Death Note should be more gay. And you know what's gay? Musicals. Musicals
Yes!
are fucking gay.
Yes!
So
I'm gonna loop back really quick because I just remembered this point that I said at the very beginning of this episode. There's a hurricane coming for Florida right now. And Joe was like, no, we good for the podcast. And earlier this week... Earlier this week, they were like, so I just discovered the Death Note musical, and I was like, oh shit, I love the Death Note musical. I was so afraid they were about to, like, drag it, and they were about to be like, this musical sucks, I hate it, and then they were like, Hurricane is a fucking ballad? And I was like, yes!
I'm like, it's an 80s ballad that's a bop. It's so fucking... It slaps. It does everything. I'm like,
slaps!
Listen, I'm like, Hamilton, you still good. But Hurricane came close. Hurricane came close. It was about to go ahead and snatch your weave. It did. It didn't. But
oh my god, I can't believe we got Joe to admit that, like, a light Yagami 80s ballad came close to Hamilton.
It came close.
That's all I wanted. Like, honestly, at this point in the Death Note podcast, I'm fulfilled. Like, this is the point where I'm like, I'm Bran, and I'm here, and Joe just admitted that, like, a light Yagami 80s rock ballad could potentially come close to a Hamilton.
On a good day.
It's like, on a good day. I mean, I'll take it. You know what? I'll take it. Anyways, so I just wanted to share my, now that we're done with Death Note, we all have a lot of thoughts. Really quick, if you haven't watched the, I don't fucking know what it's called. I don't know if it's like a extended version. I think there's some kind of like recap on Death Note.
Yes, that's the movies.
Yeah, so the Death Note movies, not Netflix. If you've listened this far on the podcast and you still think watching the Death Note on Netflix is worth it, like, hit me up. I will talk you out of it or snipe you instantly. I've not even watched it because, it's just blasphemy. The only reason I would watch it, like, I wish I could find, like, an edited version where it's just Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
As Ryuk, because holy god, and honestly, like, L's cast was really cool and provocative too, and I was like, yes, I would totally watch this. And then they were like, let's make Light a white boy, and I was like, I mean, like, let's not, but okay.
Like
Um,
it makes sense, but then the fact that they
it
laughed out
makes it
literally
makes too much sense.
it.
Like, it's too close to home.
But the fact that they laughed out every Asian actor who came
It,
into like audition
uh,
is
so gross.
is the part that is gross, because it would have been like, oh, we've seen like, these Asian actors go ahead and like express interest in doing it. Let's maybe rethink this. Let's go ahead and maybe rethink like our casting of this. I would have much more appreciated if like, the writers of like the Netflix uh movie went ahead and said, no, the reason why we're going with a white actor is because Light is the most whitest motherfucker that we know.
Okay, like, yes, like, I can
I
understand
would have appreciated if they committed to that, right?
if they committed, yeah, but like, oh god, it's just so it's weak, it's pathetic. I've seen the
It,
trailers for it, and I'm like,
it's
God,
it's so much more weaker after you know that the fact that it's like Asian actors were like, no, I want to be Light Yagami. I want to be this person. Which also, I'm like, are you sure you want to be that person? Are you absolutely sure?
honestly, and like on it, like, okay, there's a lot to be said. That's like, there's not a lot of like, when you make white, you make a white Light.
Yeah,
You make it like you carry racism. Like, you carry it. You cannot separate. Like, in America, if you make Light Yagami a white character, I mean, you in my mind, I'm like, are you really trying to pass this off as though it's happening in Japan? Because if it's happening in America, like, we have to start talking about like
a lot of other
a
things.
lot of other things, which heavily plays into racism and like the reasons as to why I just don't think it's executed properly. I don't like, there's it's one thing to be like, I'm Dexter, I'm a serial killer killing serial killers, and I'm like, cool, good for you. I've never watched Dexter. That's the premise that I've
It's
heard, and I'm like,
yeah, for the 3 seasons that I watched of Dexter, it's okay.
yeah, and I'm like, cool, good for you. Like, kill serial killers because you are a serial killer. Like, this is the best kind of serial killer, is the one that
Yeah,
kills.
yeah.
You're fair, but when you have it's just Japan. The society is so different. Like, I recently watched oh god, it's the worst movie. It's so horrible. It's so sad. Um, it's about a deaf girl who gets made fun of. You know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't.
Okay, there's a movie. You know what? I think it's called The Sound of Silence. Hold
Okay.
on. Let me make sure. Just kidding. The Sound of Silence is that song called "Hello, Darkness, My Old Friend." Okay. I want to die. I did not know this was the sound. Okay. Anyways, it's a show about it's a whole movie. It's a movie about this it's an anime that takes place in Japan. Girl is bullied for being deaf,
Yeah.
made fun of for speaking differently, yada yada yada. I just started to think a lot about. There are a lot of. I mean, like, you grow up as a person living in America. You grow up as an American citizen and watching a lot of anime, and you just start to notice a lot. There's just a difference, just society wise. Like, whereas American cartoons are very, I mean, like, our society in general is very individualized. It's very about like the American dream. Make your dream come true. It's all about you. You're the individual. You buy what you want to buy. You make your dreams come true. It's
Right.
all about you. And in a Japan based society, you have a lot of a heavier. I mean, it's just in general, any anime you watch is more society based. It's more like you see a lot of more people committing suicide because they feel like they're a burden to society, or they feel like
Right.
they're not good enough for their family. Like, there's just a much heavier note of like, how do I contribute? And there's not this thing of like, why isn't society the way I want it to be? And Light is a very carefully written, beautifully written, but a middle ground between the two. I mean, to me,
It's
it's a
almost as if he was written based upon this anxiety.
yes, yes. I was just about to say, like, it's very obvious that like I mean, like, looking at Light as a character, it's as though he's been infected with this like, why can't things be the way I want them to be? Like, it's all about him under the guise of like, but it's for the better of society. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's a
So
very it's a very Western take, to be honest. Like,
it is, and on like a certain level, then you gotta like think about like Light's sort of arc where he is condemned afterward. Like
mm-hmm.
that in itself is a very like sort of like traditional Eastern take on it. It's
Yes,
about
like, you don't get to win if you think like this. Like, you don't prevail if you think like this. It's a cautionary tale.
yeah. So with that being said, a lot of the movies, especially like the Western, we haven't watched this. Full disclosure, we do know the casting. I specifically know the fact that they did not cast Asian actors because they laughed them out of the audition, which is fucked in its own right. Um,
Yikes.
like that's fucked. I would have much more like I said, I would have much more appreciated if they were like committed to the fact that it's like, no, we're telling a tale of a privileged white dude
Yeah,
who is trying to do this.
honestly, like, it was so, oh, gross. It's
It,
just,
it,
like, I didn't even know that about the Death Note movie with Netflix, and I just genuinely was like, I'm just gonna steer clear of this. I don't have any interest in it. As soon as I saw who was like, the only things that interested me were like, one, Willem Dafoe as Ryuk, because,
and then a black dude like
and
cast
then a
as
black dude playing L, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, like,
like
but
that
only if they
shit.
commit to it, like,
But they didn't, and that's
they didn't.
that's the tragic sort of part about like the Netflix adaptation. As for like other adaptations, there's a K-drama adaptation which basically follows the same sort of arc as the anime. There's a couple of Japanese like live action animes that go ahead and adapt this.
Now, I will say, there's this one. This is the whole reason I feel terrible, because I convinced my mom to start watching Death Note
Oh
because
no.
she she misunderstood one of the things that I said, which I was like, I said in one of the live actions, and she didn't quite catch the live action part, and I was like, this isn't part of the actual show. I was like, but no, I mean, I'm not sure if it's in a novel or if it's in the live action. I know in some telling of the Death Note, like an official Death Note story, L writes his own name in the Death Note, and he's like, my name dies at like 85 eating a piece of cake, and like can't do anything about it because it's already written. And I'm like, oh my god, that is the most like L thing to do. That's beautiful. And my mom took it very seriously and was like, I thought you said that he lives. And I was like, oh no,
Oh
mom,
no.
that's like a whole different thing. And she was like, I'm not watching this show. And I'm like, shit. So that turned my mom off to it. But yeah, I mean, all of the interpretation of Death Note, like, that there's so much. This show has impacted society so heavily. There's so many retellings of this story. I don't even know how the musical ends. To be honest, we're gonna get to the important
So yeah,
adaptation.
the musical. which I consider to be the purest adaptation of Death Note.
Okay, it's so good.
It strips the fat. It goes ahead and just doesn't talk about the rules of Death Note. It's like,
No.
no, here's this magical notebook that allows you to kill people. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
That's all you need to know. You just need
Yeah.
a face and a name. That's it. And like this play, this musical goes ahead and runs with that as it goes ahead and goes through the first arc of Death Note before L dies. Except L doesn't die here. L is in the place of Nier and Mello at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
So the way it ends is with a ballad between Light and L, as L is
So gay.
as L, like, in the last song, he realizes that, like, I'm going through a routine. It doesn't make sense, but I'm going through it.
Ugh.
Oh, I'm going to die.
Ugh.
And he's like, well, at the end of this, I know I'm going to tell Light that, like, things are going to be a lot more boring after I'm gone.
Oh god, it just destroys like I'll be completely honest. I had listened to Playing His Game
Yeah.
and let me see, hold on. And They're Only Human. Those are the two songs that I had listened to from the Death Note musical.
I
before
listened to the entire thing, and then
Yeah,
I read
I mean,
the
like,
synopsis.
now I've definitely listened to it, but, like, as far as ones that I know genuinely, I'm like, oh, yeah, these are the two, like, Death Note. I was like, oh, yeah, Death Note has a musical somewhere, and these are the two songs that I'm like, ah-da-da-da-da, ah-ba-da-ba-ba. Like, I love Playing His Game so much. And when you were like, Death Note has a musical, and I was like, oh, fucking hell. Now I gotta go listen to this whole album just to make sure that I'm like,
It's so good. It's
it's
good.
so good.
Like,
Like,
I honestly
I've listened to it before in full, but I've never been like, it's not that. I've been like, okay, this is a Death Note musical. It exists out there somewhere, and I'm like, I've listened to it in passing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you watch Death Note the first time, and you're like, yeah, I mean, like, Light had good points, L had good points, and you come back to it, and you're like, okay, Light's a fucking psychopath, and you look back, and you're like, yeah, I mean, like, Light's a fucking psychopath, and I'm not gonna re-listen to the Death Note musical because it's a Death Note musical, and I'm a grown adult.
And it's like the Death Note musical realizes that Light's a fucking psychopath.
They don't. Oh my god, there's a song about him and his dad. Oh my god, if we could have used more. Okay, you want to talk about, like, hey, how could Death Note have been better? Like, I know we all talk about, like, okay, like, Light, yeah, obviously had connections to his family, but I want more. I want more of, like, Light's sheer portrayal of humanity and, like, his denial of his connection to his family. Like, I want to feel that. I want to hurt that, like I do. Like, I want to hurt it. God, hold on, there's a song. There Are Lines. There's a song called There Are Lines where his dad is like,
yes.
I'm a cop. There are lines that have to be drawn in this. You gotta draw a line in the sand somewhere. What am I willing to put up with today? Not fucking this. And, like, that's literally the whole song.
Oh, God.
Is Light's father being like, I'm a cop. Like, you can't decide whether people live or die. Like, we're humans, we're good. And, like, we just have to follow the rules that have been laid out by society. And Light's, like, echoing everything he says in this, like, beautiful, like, ballad and this, like, duet. And you're like, yes, Light understands it. And the very next one is, like, secrets and lies between him and Elle, and he's just like, oh, fucking piece of shit. It's so good.
It's so good. It's so artistically played out.
Well written.
It's so well written. It is not my favorite musical, mind you, but it is my favorite adaptation of Death Note because it actually goes ahead and plays out what is Light's motivations. They aren't great, but
No.
you see them. You see why
Yeah.
why he is the way that he is in Hurricane, and then like you see his downfall at the end of like, this is how it ends.
Oh god, it's such a gay ass song. It's
And
so good.
it's
The
like,
way that it ends is like, if y'all thought that
uh
like at any point in your life, has there ever been a moment where you've told the truth? If y'all thought that, and like L washing his feet was gay, listen to Playing His Game. Listen to the way it ends. Like,
uh
it's so raw. It's so good. It's so genuine. I I totally agree with you, Joe. Like, it's such a raw, wonderful,
succinct way of telling the story.
succinct way of telling this story. Like, it's just delightful. It's just 100%, and it sounds good. It's not cringy. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you could say, like, if you're not into Death Note in general, I mean, like, a lot of people could call this musical cringy, but if you're into Death Note and you're like, bro, like, if you're a musical theater person in general, I mean, you can hear, and like, it's a good point too, Joe. You said while you were listening to this, you pointed out, you were like, I can hear like the soundtrack
Yeah.
in this. And I mean, like, as a young kid, when I first listened, I mean, like, I listened to this movie 3 times when I was like 18 years old, and I was like, okay, it's pretty cool. Like, I used to listen to it when
Yeah.
I studied, and I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, going back to it now, and I mean, like, one time, this guy was hanging out with his roommate, was like, remember the Death Note musical? And I was like, yeah, I remember that one song, Playing His Game. It was fucking heavy as shit. But going back to it, and you made a really excellent point. Like, you can literally hear the
The
original soundtrack.
yeah.
Like, it wasn't just like a cringy adaptation of being like, I want to sing about Death Note because I'm really passionate about it. Like, they literally took the original soundtrack, and I mean, you can hear the first song on the playlist when they're like chanting Kira. Like, you can hear it. You can feel that
Uh
that original soundtrack. It builds it up really well. It was an absolute delight. You bringing this up and being like, what the fuck, this is a Death Note musical? And I was like,
yeah.
oh fuck, I gotta go back and listen to the Death Note musical. It was a delight to revisit like this adaptation of Death Note and be like, like, this is a part of Death Note. This is how far it reached into society and
Right.
how
Yeah.
like far its roots grew, and I'm just absolutely delighted. Not every anime gets this kind of
Not every anime
reach.
except Gundam 00. Gundam
I'm
00
sorry.
got a stage play.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Do you want to know how Gundam 00 was able to reenact these mech fights?
Do I want to know?
Ask me. Ask me, Brad.
God fucking damn it.
Ask me.
Fucking... This is my life. This is my life, ladies and gentlemen. How, Joe? I'm just gonna take a long drink as you answer.
So, there are bumper cars.
I'm out of alcohol.
There are bumper cars,
Oh my fucking
and they
God.
pull props out of these bumper cars that are the weapons that the mechs are fighting with. And the stagehands, who are in all black clothing, but the actual actors are in like the pilot suits, are battling each other with these weapons.
I fucking hate Gundam so much.
I love Gundam! Gundam is so much better than Death Note. There, I said it.
Eat ass! There's no fucking... You cannot listen to Hurricane and tell me like, oh, Bumper Cars Gundam is better than Death Note. I hate this so much.
I will send you the video.
There is nothing more fitting than our fucking fucking end up watching Death Note than you begrudgingly screaming about how Bumper Cars Gundam is better than the Death Note musical.
Okay, it's not better than the Death Note musical. The Death Note musical fucking slaps. I
It
will say that.
slaps! It's so good!
I will say that. But as a whole, Gundam is so much better than Death Note.
Gundam sucks!
Gundam is so much better than Death
Gundam sucks.
Note.
I'll die. My fucking grave. Bran fucking whines. Gundam sucks. Eat ass, Joe. I'll see you in hell.
Just wait until like season 4 of like
Actually, I
Unsol
won't.
anime.
Because I fucking used the Death Note and I'm not going to heaven or hell. I'll see you in the Shinigami realm.
I did not use the Death Note like Nier. I was just like, nah, B.
Coward.
I'll go.
I killed Trump. Anyways, the Death Note musical is fantastic, and you should all go listen to it on YouTube right now. Death Note, the musical, the complete 2015 English, all in parentheses. Just look it up. You'll love it. It's a delight.
Thank you, Bran. So with that, I think we finally beat Death Note.
We beat it.
We beat it.
Fucking beat it into the grave.
Oh my
Cue
god.
to Lights. I win. Funeral scene. That's us right now over Death Note.
Oh my god. So, Bran, thank you so much for coming with me on this journey.
It was a journey. It was a long journey.
I feel like you're the paladin. You're the one who is carrying me through this, and you're saying that like, hey, like, guess what? It'll all be okay. You'll come out the other side, and I was just there, like,
ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
And I was there as a lowly black mage, just like, just kill me, please. Please.
I'm like, not yet.
So, I truly do thank you for this. I really do thank you for, like, you know, providing like this contrast to my sort of like way more dour, way more like sort of cynical outlook on Death Note, and then also make me really rethink a lot of my feelings on Death Note. Really,
Yeah.
like make me rethink a lot of my feelings towards like the L and Light dynamic, very much the Nier and Mellow dynamic, because
Yeah.
that shit was way more impactful than I was expecting. I really wish I got more time.
Yeah. No, I was just about to say thank you for like I always watch this show and we all have to approach it from like, oh yeah, like Ellen Light, you know, Nier and Mellow, we all get this like vibe from it. But I mean, it was good for me to revisit Death Note and be like, yo, like episode 2, Light is talking about killing his family.
Yeah.
Like, it was good for me to revisit this show and be like, yo, like Light wasn't just a good boy for like half this season. Like it was interesting. It was really impactful to be like, yo, like, I mean, really listen to Light, and it makes me appreciate his character 12 times more, that he already was thinking like that, you know, so early on in the show. So it was good to have just to read each other's notes and be like, I mean, think about it though, like very first episode, there are some themes that are coming into play really quickly.
So after this episode, I'm gonna post links, at least to my notes, just to show like this arc.
Yeah.
Like just what all I thought while going throughout this entire series. And it'll be cool. It'll be great. And yeah, like I really appreciate this. And Bran, I really appreciate our time together while discussing this anime. I'm looking forward to discussing an anime that we both like.
Yeah.
Or at least that we both are like, oh no, this seems okay. Because Death Note was such a fraught
Yeah.
sort of property. It wasn't as fraught as something like Evangelion, but it definitely had its moments where I was like,
Can I go on? Like,
yeah. So yeah, I definitely am looking forward to when we go ahead and cover Mob Psycho because I want to talk about anime I like with you rather than talk
yeah,
about anime that I'm just kind of pushing through.
yeah. No, I think like Mob Psycho, when we do get to it, it'll be very like. I mean, Reagan's gay, and we love Reagan, so like, there's that. Like, that'll be. And there's so much from what I mean. Like, I've watched maybe 2 episodes of Mob Psycho. That's it. Like, I've not watched anything else. I've seen GIFs. I've seen fan art, and all I can glean is that like I love Reagan, and that's it. Like,
Yes.
I just love him. So I'm super excited to jump into like a like a new anime. If I'm mentally up for the challenge, I'm super excited to just kind of like tackle a new thing. We'll definitely do it at a slower pace, which I think will certainly help, and just kind
We'll
of really
probably do like
appreciate.
2 episodes at a time rather than like 3
Yeah,
episodes or
and it'll
6.
be super like I won't have like years of thought built up and be like, okay, but like yeah, like y'all give me some murder, but like all this, like I'll just be straight up like, yo, Reagan's gay and like an icon, but like stop using a 12-year-old to like promote your business. I don't know.
I,
That's the vibe I've gotten from the show so far. I'm excited to tackle it.
it's great. So we'll be back. So I'll be back with you in November. Until then, it'll be me and M talking about video games. Probably. I know the next probably episode is gonna be about me and M talking about Fire Emblem and me. And the second half of the Golden Deer arc, probably when we get to the adult half, and then after that will be me and M talking about like his playthrough through the Blue Lions arc, which will be super exciting because I did not choose Blue Lions at the first because I was like I want to go ahead and choose the gay boy, and
Is
M
it the
is
yellow boy?
yeah.
I love Yellow Boy. He looks so cute.
Yellow Boy is so great, and Blue Lions Boy is Genos, literally Genos.
That's it.
So,
Just Genos.
so yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Bram, where can we find you on the internet?
Hit me up on Instagram, Bran Witches, BRAN Witches, not like the, ladies that ride around on broomsticks and people I wish I could be. Just Bran Witches, as though you're making a sandwiches. Yeah, not just Bran. Just hit me up on Instagram if you want to see a lot of pictures of my cat. His name is Finn. He's a monster. He does evil deeds on a daily basis. If you'd like to see me document his sins, feel free to hit me up on Instagram.
As for me, you can find me on just Joe Stars, so that's just JO Stars, on most social media platforms. So whether that's Twitch or Instagram or Twitter, Twitch, I want to go ahead and get more active on. Twitch, I will be more active on once Daemon X Machina comes out in 2 weeks. Where it's Armored Core 4, but what if for Switch? And I am going to be documenting my entire process on that because, boy howdy, that looks like a fucking bomb-ass game. I'm so excited to play Daemon X Machina. I cannot tell you.
You know what? I would just like to say the only game that I'm looking forward to this month is a fucking Goose Game. That's all I care about. I'm so excited.
Oh my god. So, catch me on Twitch playing Daemon X Machina and Goose Game when it comes out. Other than that, I post all my plastic children on Instagram. And I post all my bad gaming opinions on Twitter. And also anime opinions on Twitter. So, if you want to go ahead and catch that every once a month, that's on Twitter, Twitch, every once in a while. Instagram, semi more frequently. But anyway, for anybody who has listened throughout this entire journey, again, thank you so much. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for listening to this, because this has been wonderful and
yeah,
cool and amazing, and I have been so glad to watch an anime that's more outside of my comfort zone than, say, like Gundam.
yeah.
So it has been particularly awesome, and also to document the trek between me getting a cat and not getting a cat.
Oh, that's an excellent point. Like, I would love to just kind of rewatch this whole series just to be like, wow, I wonder when, like, Brandon will just suddenly start to have a heart attack over a small squeaky sounds in the background when Diamond's like, like, ah! He's so cute.
He's so cute. So, as always, go ahead and fertilize the rich, feed the poor.
Yeah, I recently have also seen that post where it's like, don't eat the rich, that's gross. Use the rich as fertilizer.
But feed the poor regardless.
Yeah, I mean, like, use them to grow food for the poor. Beautiful.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful note.
It's a wonderful note. So, yeah.
Well, that's it.
Thank you all so much for watching or listening or whatever. I don't know. It's YouTube. It's weird. And go watch Death Note. I
Do
actually endorse that. Go watch it. Watch it with a
Yeah.
friend. It'll be so much more fun, and it's an experience. I totally endorse this as a friend who watched it with a friend. That, like, watch Death Note. Just do it. Just do it.
Watch Death Note. This has been almost a 4-hour podcast. Of the last 4 episodes of Death Note, watch Death Note. Just do it. I mean, what have you got to lose, right? I mean, like, your morality, your your innocence. Just do it. It's a classic. It's wonderful. You'll be questioning everything that you love and know at the end of it. And I mean, like, who knows?
Who knows?
You'll be a different person,
You'll be a different person. So anyway,
or you'll want Light Yagami to die like the rest of us will. Anyways,
I hope so. So
we hope so.
peace.